All right, good evening. Welcome to American Hammers TV. It's Wednesday night. It's time to talk about West Ham. I've got Sully with me. He's on the other side. He's over there. He's over here. I've got Sully with me in Colorado. How you doing, Sully?
Yeah, pretty good. Thank you. It's had some beautiful weather the past few days, so I guess spring is starting a little early here, but yeah, can't complain.
Ooh, that sounds nice. That would be nice. Yeah, I know that February is the worst month here, except for March, which is even worse than February. So
Yeah, March is
it's
our
only going to get more
snowiest month
depressing.
too, so I'm sure this won't last, but it's nice that it's here.
But you have that beautiful mountain snow, and we have that like slushy, gross, like suburban snow. So um, anyway, yeah, we're Charlie Walsh is going to be on with us here in a few minutes, and we might have a couple of others drop in as well. So stick with us. We'll have more people coming in. Let us know what you want to talk about. Drop us a note in the chat room, and we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. Um, I'll tell you what I always tell you at the beginning of every show, which is if you want to be in the show, let us know. If you want to be part of the network, let us know. You want to do stuff like podcasts or you want to participate in our Discord or whatever it is you want to do, just do it. Just let us know and we can jump on. There's Neil, I see. It's Thursday afternoon, of course, in South Australia, probably 137 degrees there too because it's their summer. Here's Kieran. Glad you guys are here. Yeah, check out our website, AmericanHammers.net. Check us out on social. Find us, buy our merchandise, like and subscribe, do all that stuff, please, so we can keep going. Sally and I were just talking about this. It is we are 11 days from the second anniversary of American Hammers TV, which is cool. It's very exciting. Hey, Vern, how you doing? Hey, Wally, what's going on? Yeah. So I don't. That's Sunday. So the day we play Liverpool, Sunday is the second anniversary of American Hammers TV. So maybe we'll do a special thing. I don't. We have nothing planned at this point, but maybe we'll do a special thing. Yeah, Darren's here. So yeah, you guys, as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, we're gonna have Charlie Walsh drop in and maybe a couple of other people as well. So you guys hang with us. In the meantime, Sally and I started talking about West Ham stuff and got a little bit carried away and forgot to start the show. So, so I guess we could sort of pick up where we left off. 6 points since the last time we came together last week. Burnley, 1-0. I felt as though once Antonio scored, that game was over. Once you score against Burnley, they're dead. They've got nothing. And they did have a couple of chances toward the end of the match, but generally that game was over. Thank you very much. And then of course we had West Brom and Sam and Grady and the gentleman's agreement, and really a lot of stuff going on in that game for not being the best game to watch. A lot of drama surrounding that game. But the first thing we were just talking about is we're at the turn. We're 19 games into the season, which means we're exactly halfway through the Premier League season. And, I'm sure everybody here is aware of the table. We're sitting seventh. We're on 32 points. We are ahead of Chelsea. We're ahead of Arsenal. Not because they have games in hand, but because we're actually ahead of them both. We're looking down at, more than half the table at this point, which is fairly unusual. We are 8 points off the top, not 8 points from the bottom. We're 8 points off the top. It's usually the other way around. Usually I read the table from the bottom up, but not this season. I read the table from the top down. So we're just talking about, and we want to get everybody's feelings on this. How high can this team go in the second half? How high can we climb? Irish Tommy said on Twitter today, and I tried to get him on the show tonight, but he's busy. He's got other stuff going on. Irish Tommy said on Twitter today, we're in a title race, as in Premier League title race. Now, I mean, objectively, if you were to look at this table and see us 8 points off the top halfway through the season, that's not a ridiculous statement. It is a ridiculous statement when you consider it's West Ham, but it's any other club you look at that and say, sure, they have an outside shot. How do we get there, and how high do we go? What do you guys think? What do we need? Obviously, a striker. Rob says no additions to the team 10th to 14th. With no additions, I don't know. I feel as though we're hard to beat right now. So I think we're going to scratch out some draws in games where last year we would have lost. And I think we're going to win some games that we would have drawn last season. And I'm hoping it'll keep us in the top half, even if we don't bring anybody else in. The problem, of course, is the whole club right now is riding on the clay hamstrings of Mikel Antonio. Yeah. I think. Anyway, give me your thoughts, Sally. What do you think about where we are, where we need to go in the second half?
Yeah, no, so I think kind of going with what you were talking about backwards, with Antonio, I think one thing that really concerned me this past weekend, and I remember I was talking to Becca about it on Twitter before the match, was there was no Meepo on the bench, which was really confusing. Thing is how you would think that from all the positive stuff that we've heard that Moyes has said that he'd be on the bench, especially since he is the striker. Me and Becca were joking in the sense of like, oh, well, of course, with no legitimate backup striker, this is the game where Antonio is going to get hurt again. Because,
of course,
I don't feel comfortable with Antonio playing 90 minutes right now.
I couldn't believe he played. I believe he played 85 or so against West Brom. I couldn't believe he played 90 against Burnley. I was shocked by that.
Yeah, well, you could tell he was gassed too.
Yeah, absolutely, totally. Yeah,
no, 100%, and I think it was pretty obvious. But now I guess to the point of everybody saying they predict us finishing, with no additions, I would say that 10th is probably the floor for us.
I hope so. Yeah.
Because I look at that, and right now between us and 10th place is Chelsea, Southampton, and Arsenal, and they could legitimately all finish above us.
Sure they could.
And I think Villa is probably the other caveat, which might put us down to 11th.
Villa, who finally played a football match today. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been like 6 months since they played. They played and they lost. They lost to Manchester City, so really no big surprise there. But
sure.
Yeah, they still have 3 games. They're 6 points behind us. We have 3 games in hand.
They've only got 16 games played. Everton is next. They've only played 17.
Yeah.
Which and at the same time that can hurt or help Villa, because those makeup games are going to all come in a short week, which is probably going to be, later in the season or whatever the case may be. But, at the same time, I think there's kind of 2 trophies to play for right now. One of them isn't a legit trophy, just something to brag about. Obviously, you have the Kings of London, which we're only 1 point away from that right now.
That's
and
crazy.
Then obviously you have the champions of the league. So my only concern with being champions of the league or even qualifying for a European spot is that I don't know if we have the club to do that next season.
Oh, not even close.
No. If we finish in Europa League or Champions League, that's fantastic. I'm here for it. I'll watch the games no matter if I'm at work or whatever the case may be. Because, I don't know if anybody could tell me when the last time West Ham United was in the Champions League was, but I'm sure it'd be exciting.
Never. It's never happened.
There it is.
Yeah.
But I know for sure finishing as the best team in London would be, a pretty nice shot too. But so I guess that as much as I would like to see us finish top 7, top 6, whatever European spot would give us for Champions League, I don't know if it's something that legitimately going into next season is a feasible option for us, especially with the fact that our board don't like to buy anybody. Plus, I think about it as I'm saying it, if we finish in the top, there's no reason for the board to do anything different than what they're doing because, you guys have made the Champions League with what you have. You don't need anything different.
Yeah. I think they'd say the same thing if we made Europa League too, to be fair. If we make Europa League, they're going to say, hey, you're successful. Take your 19 players and, and go into Europe.
I think the only other thing I could see that's a positive in a way, I guess, positive maybe the loose word to use here is – it would drive up the price of a team or of people who want to buy the club since we would finish in such a top spot.
That's true. That's true.
But I guess drive up isn't necessarily a bad thing in this situation because it might, convince, Grumps up there to sell the team finally, so we'll see what happens.
You mean John Nolan? You mean this Grumps? Where is he? Where is he? He's over here. I can't ever get it the right way. This is so bizarre. I've got to point in the other direction. This Grumps right here in Philly. How you doing, John? What's going on?
Good. You guys looked lonely there. I figured I'd jump in.
Well,
appreciate it.
Charlie Walsh is supposed to be on with us too at some point. I don't know. He got caught up in some sort of web of intrigue, so he's gonna be a little late. Now, see, Wally, we're just talking, John. Irish Tommy said on Twitter today that we are in a title race, and I think he was not joking. You look at us, we're 8 points off the top. Okay, now this is West Ham. We know it's not going to happen, but we're 8 points off the top. Any other club in any other league, and you look at it and you say, like, they're not out of it, right? They're not out of it. But we were just talking about where, how high this club can climb this season, what we need to get there. Now, Wally thinks like me. See, this is the way I think. If we stay in the Premier League season after season, I'm really pretty happy with that. But here we are, 32 points at the turn. Hey, Trevor, glad you could be with us. Glad we woke you up. Sorry we woke you up. I don't know if you're trying to sleep or not, but anyway, 32 points at the turn, and we obviously need some additions. But what do you think about where we are? What's our ceiling? What's our floor? And where do we end up, John? If we don't add anybody, where do we end up if we do go out and find a half-decent striker like a Dia or this fella from Sevilla?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think Tommy's saying there at all that we'll go and win the title, because I know Tommy he had something that he sent to Mark from West Ham Philly as well about. I know Mark was super happy about the result the other day and thought we'd be breaking top 5 by the end of next month, and Tommy said that he didn't think we had kind of the squad depth to do that. And I agree with that, to be honest. Yeah. It's going to be a long slog of a season. Yeah. If you want to talk about it, are we in an actual title race right now? I mean, we're winning games. We're at the top. We're within reach of all those teams. And it's one of those seasons where even the top teams are losing. I mean, I don't think we're going to see any record number of points win the league this year.
That's what Sully was saying.
Number of goals,
That's what Sully was saying before we got on. I don't think we said this after the show started, but before the show started, when we were chatting, Sully was saying, Liverpool were at like 70 points or something like that this time last season.
Yeah.
I mean, they had already crushed them. They'd run away with it by the time the season ended or stopped, was paused in March. So at this point in the season, it was already over. But you look at Manchester United, 40 points at the top, and City with a game in hand at 38 right behind them. I mean, it's tight up there,
Well, I think the point is really, right, if Liverpool and Tottenham are in a title race, Liverpool's got 2 more points than we do, Tottenham's got 1 more point than we do,
right?
Then we're in a title race. I mean, realistically, is that, 5, 6, 7, 8 games from now, are we still in a title race? Probably not.
Probably not.
But for right now, yeah, we're in a title race. Why shouldn't we be talked about? We should at least be talked about in contention for Europe, top 8.
If we were 8 points from the bottom, we'd be in a relegation battle, right? I mean, people talk about Newcastle. I've even seen Wolves. People talk about Wolves being in a relegation battle. I personally think, we were just discussing this earlier too, I think relegation this season is going to be a real trough. I mean, you've got, Sheffield United at 5 points, West Brom at 11, Fulham at 12. Fulham have a game in hand, but even so, I mean, that's, if they doubled those totals, they're only up into the 20s. But I mean, my point is, Newcastle on 19 points. I've seen people talk about them being in trouble. Wolves on 22, 10 points out. I've seen people talk about them being in trouble 10 points out of the relegation zone. So if they're in trouble 10 points out, why aren't we in a title race 8 points out, 8 points back?
I think the craziest thing too about that, right, is Sheffield United. And not that I care what happens to Sheffield, but with as crazy good as the season they had last year, they might, set the record for earliest relegation this season. Like, they have 1 win, negative 22 goal differential, and 5 points. Like, they're getting beat by everybody, and it's the same squad essentially. So it's pretty insane to see that. But
it is. It's second season syndrome, but it's the harshest one I've ever seen. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, and kind of to John's point, we're winning games, and not only are we winning games, we're winning close games, or we're scratching out the lead, in late games where, normally would be a draw or somebody else would score. I think honestly, the one game of this season that I think is the epitome of resilience, I think, for this team was the Villa game so far, and I know Tottenham was obviously up there being down 3-1. But I honestly think
that was kind of a miracle, though. Let's be honest. Tottenham was a little bit of a miracle.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Lanzini's shot is a 1 in 1,000 shot to go in. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and I'll take that every time.
Oh, I will too.
I think that Villa game, you score so early in each one of the halves, you know that you're just sitting there puckering butt cheeks for the next 45 minutes.
They were better than we were. They were better than we were. I mean, they played. They out. I mean, they missed a penalty. They had a goal called back. I mean, everything that could have happened our way happened our way. They outplayed us, and yet, as you said, Telly, we got those 2 goals at the right time.
Yeah.
I mean,
And to answer what Wally said earlier, Villa hasn't played in about 3 weeks in a row because they had a COVID breakout in their squad.
Right, that's true. We were just talking about how Villa have 12 games in hand on the rest of the league. So 3 on us, but they're 6 points behind, so they need to win, and they lost today. But I think Rob is right about this. I've said this a lot this season. Second goal against West Brom. All sorts of examples of games this season, wins that we would have drawn, draws that we would have lost. There he is. I mean, it's it's encouraging to say the least. Hey, Charlie, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. I've calmed down after my mild confrontation with Adam Frankel about an hour ago, whenever it was. But apart from that, I'm all good.
What happened? What happened?
Well, so he's been. I don't know if you've seen this, Lee, or Sally, or John. He's been popping off. Well, I know John knows about it now because I've DM'd him, but he's been popping off something fierce, okay, on Hammer Shots. Because I don't know if you've seen the leaderboard, but I was at the bottom of the playoff leaderboard. I was 1 point off making it.
Wait. He says he just sent me a message. Okay.
Okay.
Oh. He wants to know if he should jump on. Should he jump on right now?
I tell you what, tell him to jump on. Give me 1 second. I'll be back. I'll be 1 second. I'll be back in a second.
Okay.
Tell him to get his tell him to get his ass here. I was going to say but. No, we'll go past the watershed. Tell him to get his ass here and we'll have a conversation. I'll be 1 sec.
Charlie, I hope you're going to find some pierogies because apparently Adam Frankel doesn't know the beauty of the pierogi. And it's not right. It's just not right.
He's got many things wrong, John, is what I'd say, And I think that's the lesser of him. He's a wrong man. He's a wrong un, is that Frankel.
I'd never heard of a pierogi until I was like in my 30s, probably. I think probably the first time I went to Pittsburgh, maybe. Or the only time I've ever been to Pittsburgh was
in the great state of Pennsylvania. It is they give you one when you cross the state line.
It's just Alaska gives you $1,000 and Pennsylvania gives you a pierogi.
I legitimately did not know what one was, and I'm not sure I've ever had one. Now that I think about it, aren't they like pasties a little bit though?
No. Pasties like
stuff with potato and cheese and
pasties more like a pastry. This is more like more similar to a ravioli, but it's stuffed with potatoes and onions and beautiful things that just get sautéed in butter and onion, and it's delightful.
Imagine everything in one thing. That's where we're going with
that
this.
That is how we like to eat our food in this country. We like to put everything possible into a single container, like the bread bowl, which is the greatest invention ever.
The bread bowl.
Yeah, it's like years ago I used to work for a magazine, and we had a cafeteria in the building, down in the bottom of the basement of the building, and every Friday they served legal seafood, clam chowder in a bread bowl. And I look forward the whole week to legal seafood, clam chowder in a bread bowl because you eat the food and then you eat the thing the food came in.
You have to be strategic about it. You can't, because you want to dip the edges of the bread bowl in the soupy mixture that's in there, but you can't rip too much off.
No, that's right. Because otherwise you've spilled your soup is all over the table.
See, this is why you got to be fat like me. I'm just eating everything at all times. Therefore, there's no strategies with me, bro. I'm just getting in there,
I tacked on
Charlie folds the bowl.
I tacked on mass over the holidays a little bit. Yeah, I did. So now I'm trying to take it back off. All right. Now I'm back on Weight Watchers and back eating like very little actually. So do you eat sour cream with these?
You can have sour cream. You can do applesauce. I mean, there's a variety of methods, but my method is certainly saute with a little butter and onion and just, and if you can get some kibasi as well at the same time, get some good Polish sausage, good to go. It's delightful.
I always thought of those as being more Pittsburgh than Philly, though. Are they?
It's definitely a Pittsburgh. Yeah, I mean, the farther west in the state you go,
American anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no.
If you can find good Italian food, you'll find yourself a good pierogi.
Is that right? Not in Boston though. We don't have them. We have great Italian food. We do have great. Providence has magnificent Italian food. Providence,
you go to the North End too.
The North End in Boston has great Italian food. Providence on Federal Hill is even better. All right, I'm gonna lose my mass hole card for saying that, but it's true. Providence, Federal Hill, Italian Foods, the best you'll have. The best I've had in the United States was Federal Hill and Providence.
Well, here's something I wanted to ask you about, right? Now we're on this topic.
Yes.
Welcome to the chat, everyone. Is that so? My
You know what we were
girlfriend-
talking about before you came? You know what we were talking about before you came on?
probably West Ham.
West Ham.
Oh,
well,
here he is.
Wait,
Here's
here
the
he is.
mug.
Okay. Let's go back to the beef, not the beef that we were discussing. The delicious.
We'll get onto good beef in a second.
I seem to remember, Charlie, I think before you started talking about food, it was something about, all I remember is you admitting being bottom of the leaderboard.
No, I wasn't bottom of the leaderboard. I was bottom of the playoff leaderboard. There's a difference.
No, you were bottom.
Did I win my match?
Wait. Okay, wait. Can I first show you something? Look at this.
Of course you can.
My
Anything for you.
mother-in-law knitted me a West Ham blanket. Look at this.
Oh.
See how nice this is? This is my mother-in-law. This was she brought it over the other day, a West Ham blanket. And oh, by the way, if I stand up, look at this, West Ham PJs. Yeah. Well, you can't see it for my name, but here you go. Where how do I move? Where do I go? Anyway.
Move your chair backwards.
Oh yeah, that's how you do it. Look at this, West Ham PJs. So.
Love that.
Anyway,
and you know who brings shame upon his badge? Frankel. Okay.
All right. What did he do before? We were actually talking about this. This has been such a great week for our club. All right, 6 points. We're in a title race according to Irish Tommy. We're talking about so get your beef out of the way. What did you do? And then we'll talk about other stuff. What did you do, Frankel?
Yeah, come on, admit. What did you do? Come on, tell the class.
No, I mean, basically, Charlie's bitter because he was bottom of the leaderboard. And you know how it works. Although, Selly, I'm a little bit disappointed you've never been on Hammer Shots. Like, I'm very disappointed that you've not been on the show.
I tell you what the Premier League pies that they sent us were pretty good.
They
Did
were
you guys
good.
get those? Did you guys get
Yeah.
those? Yeah, they were good. They weren't bad at all.
I will say real quick, just to defend myself, the only reason I've never been on the show, at least last semester or last year, was because it always fell on the day that I had school. Like when you were on the show, I had school. So if I can sort it out for this next time after the playoffs and everything for next season, yeah, man, I'm all in there. I mean, and I guess another reason too is I'm definitely not the best when it comes to West Ham history.
North Charlie, don't worry about it.
Okay, here we go with the yaps. Yeah, Selly, what I'd say to you is someone who hasn't had the pleasure of being on Hammer Shots. He's going to screw you just like he screwed me, and then he's going to act like it's your fault.
So here's what's happening next week in the battle, because obviously Charlie, as you can tell, is crying all about it. He's taking me on, so it's going to be me against Charlie.
Who's hosting?
John.
Nolan? Well, he's an excellent host.
We need one because apparently when it's this Joker, problems pop up. So we need a good host who can call it down the middle.
All right. So what you're saying is, so there's a beef.
The beef,
Charlie and Adam. Okay.
So Charlie's sulking because he was in the first show, and then I changed around.
I think this is true, by the way.
I think that's true as well, to be fair. I think that's true as well, to be fair.
I changed around, which meant there were less points available. So Charlie says, I didn't get the same shot as everybody else to earn as many points. Is
that not true? Yes.
Wait a minute. That's a valid point now, and I'm sorry.
Which is why.
And what I would ask is how many points was I off getting into that? On the leaderboard, how many points was I off total from getting into that? Thank you very much. I would have got that.
Would you?
How many, as proof, the quickfire questions at the end, who has the second highest score on that leaderboard?
Okay, you have the joint second highest.
Wow.
Joint with two other people.
Wait, is that like at West Ham we're joint third or something like that? A couple of weeks ago?
Let me clear something up too. I am not the ref. I'll be asking the questions. Wally is going to be the ref, so these two better be on both their best behaviors because he's a little funny with the numbers behind the scenes. Wally, you never know.
Wally's down in New Orleans, so John, God only he may not show up. You don't know.
Oh, he's going to be shit canned.
You don't know what state Wally's going to be in. He's down in New Orleans. He can do whatever he gets.
I trust a shit canned Wally more than I trust Adam Frankel. That man, he has consistently screwed me over. Wally has never done that to me. Wally is a beautiful man who can't do anything wrong in my eyes.
That is-
Franco over here.
Scoring begins.
That is a devastating appraisal of Adam's character.
Which is totally fine because I know that I'll prove myself next week when I embarrass Charlie. I mean, I don't even live in the country anymore. So, I mean, it should be.
Charlie, just don't tell Adam to drop dead because he'll do it.
Listen, I don't know. Look, here's the thing. I have no ill will towards Adam Frankel.
He'll do it.
I have no ill will. I'm happy he survived. But what I will say is this. What I would say is this. Okay? What I would say is this. Dying and coming back to life, done no help for his fairness, done no help for his counting, done no help for anything. You know, I see Neil talking about the Trump. Look, I'm not testing the scores here. I'm not saying the scores were wrong. The scores are completely correct. I trust the scores.
Now you're all being challenged, okay? You're all being challenged by Charlie Boy, who, by the way, I invited to come on tonight, but he can't wake up his family and do the show. So anyway, because I wanted Charlie to have Charlie Boy come on. But anyway, he
I will
said
say I do feel slightly sorry for my girlfriend who is asleep just over there and she can hear me screaming. But I don't care because this is important.
What is Alan still doing awake? In Poland, it's like crazy o'clock.
You've got to
Oh,
respect it.
it's Alan from Alan's pretty well known dude in the Twitter circles.
Yeah, he just was on the show today.
Oh, he was. Oh, okay. I didn't. What time was it? Was it?
He's an hour ahead of the UK, so it's like 3:30 in the morning, something like that.
That's French time. Yeah.
Perfect time for a pierogi.
But to be fair, but we're going to settle this by going against each other.
He's in Poland, Eastern Europe. He can have one.
Well, isn't that why we brought it up? Because
That's
talked
exactly
about
what we brought up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then, he can go to the pierogi stand in Warsaw or whatever and go get one. You know, I'm sure they have those.
Also, real quick before we get back to the proper chat tonight, I did notice that DJ was on the show too, and I guess just a little plug for the weekend. I'll be on his show. My Hammer is 11 on Saturday at 3:00 Eastern.
Nice.
Or no, is it 3:00 Eastern? No, 3:00 Mountain Time, so 5:00 Eastern. So yeah, pretty excited about that. He does an excellent job, so I'm happy he reached out.
You're
to
gonna
have
have
me
so
on.
much fun with that, Sally. I had so much fun with it. Who have you guys been on Russ's show? Anybody else been on?
Yeah.
Everybody else been on? Yeah. He's great. I love it. He does such a great job with that. He's such a good dude.
He is. He's a great host, like everyone here, apart from Adam.
Just wait. I'm excited for John to do my job because it's harder than it might seem. So we'll see.
Yeah,
But
see,
I'm wrecking it. I need the details. We've got to work it out. I need to know the rounds. Do I need a hangman application? I'm scared.
I dropped that hangman, man. That hangman is the worst. That's the worst part of the whole thing. I never got near the hangman when I did the 2 episodes I was on. I don't think I ever got a single one of those.
One of the episodes I don't remember because I was telling them earlier on, like, I remember when I, not to keep going on about when I died, but I remember being in the hospital bed in the
never
ICU.
shut up about it, Frankel. That's the thing about you.
But like, this is relevant.
Your
Like,
death experience again.
I remember waking up and thinking, oh my gosh, I've got Tim and Lee coming up on the show next week and I'm excited about it, but I'm not going to be able to do it because I'm in a hospital bed. And then I don't remember who I messaged, but then someone said to me, no, you've already done that show. Like that show already happened. And I had no idea.
That was the one that almost killed you because I beat Tim.
Yeah.
And I think it was a shock of me beating Tim. That
killed me a few hours later.
And it was like
when you actually die at the end of your life, you're just going to be reincarnated into a fucking show with Lee and Tim. It's like that's the afterlife. Like you go to that show.
It's his purgatory. He's going to be the host of Hammer Shots for Eternity with Kevin D getting questions wrong all the time. I didn't do great, but anyway, I did better than Tim, but I didn't do great. Yeah, that's where Adam's purgatory is going to work. Yeah.
I'm sorry. We've railroaded the talk. You were talking about West Ham for some reason being title contenders earlier on, and I wondered if I was imagining things.
Well, I mean, sure. Listen, we only serve the hottest takes here, okay? On Wednesday nights. Now you serve the hottest pierogies in Pennsylvania, and the hottest enchiladas in Texas or something, and the hottest takes come off of the assembly line here. Like that time that my friend and I went into some curry place in London, and we said we ordered. I don't know what we ordered. We said They said, how spicy do you want your food? You got vindaloo or whatever, whatever it was. And we said, we're fat Americans. Make it as spicy as you can make it. Well, that was a very, very big error. I don't know. The night ended in literal tears because as soon as I took a bite, I started to, and I don't really know what happened after that. But anyway, so that's the heat of our takes. So what we were saying is, okay, if we were sitting 8 points out of the relegation zone, which is what usually is happening this time of the season, we'd be in a relegation battle, right? Like some people have said Newcastle are in one, and some people have even said Wolves are in one, even though I think that's a stretch. We're 8 points off the top. Okay, we're 6 points, whatever, from the European. Not very many points at all from the European places, even Champions League places. What's our ceiling? How high can we go with our 21 players and our hamstrings of clay scoring all our goals for us? Now, Selly's already talked about this, and John's talked about this a little bit. So Adam and Charlie, you guys need to have a shouting match. See who talks next.
Go on, Adam. Adam can go if he's such a good host. Come on, in, Adam.
Yeah, I better go first because then Charlie can literally just copy what I say and regurgitate it in his own words. So
I don't copy. Look, if I'm going to copy someone here, it's going to be Selly. I'm not going to copy you. Okay, I'd copy someone worth copying. Right?
It's my turn now. Look, your time will come. It's a good question. I don't think we're tight. I know that we're close to the top, but I don't think we can be this class as title contenders because.
Okay, no, I agree with you, Adam. I mean that's silly. But how high can we go? I mean, you have two. Okay, there's really two ways to ask this question. How high do we go with the squad we have if we add nobody? How high do we go if we, let's say, bring in a Dia or this fellow from Sevilla whose name I don't remember, probably can't pronounce. A striker. I mean, what's our ceiling? Do you think?
I mean, I actually think 6th place. I think that we would struggle to finish any higher than that, but I think 6th place is possible. I want to say 5th because some of the teams that are normally those spots are reserved for, Chelsea, maybe even Arsenal at a push, are really not having a good season. And there are other teams like Leicester who have just somehow managed to continually overperform. And I guess at some point they overperform so much that you must just think
they just perform. They're not overperforming.
Yeah.
That's just how they are. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm a good example. Yeah.
I think I'm close to accepting that.
Yeah.
But I really think, especially like for us, I think our next 4 games are going to be crucial because we only play one. Liverpool are the only top team we play. We've got Fulham, We've got Villa, we've got teams, Palace, beatable teams. And I think the real test, like some of you mentioned earlier on in the show, some of our results, we have had quite a lot of luck. That isn't going to last the whole season. And I think if we can win 3 out of the next 4 games, yeah, I actually think 6th place is a very realistic high target.
Do you think it's luck? I mean, do you believe in luck? I don't know if I do. I'm not sure I do. I think everything happens for. I think you make your own luck. I do.
Well, it's hard to disagree with it, but then you also think about and it works both ways. I mean, look at the Manchester United game. We should have been 5-0 up at half time, but instead they're allowed to take a goal kick that bends outside the stadium and comes back in.
Right.
And then they score it.
Yes.
In my mind, that's pretty unlucky. It's pretty unlucky that VAR just so happens to not be able to check that until match of the day later on in the evening.
Right.
Right,
of course. Well, VAR does us no favors except against Villa, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it makes sense. I mean, I do. Sally and I were talking about this. Sally and I were on just the two of us for when we first started, and the two things we talked about was one, our whole the whole future of the club is now riding on the hamstrings of Mikel Antonio, and also, so what if we did get into Europe? We're just going to get eliminated against Astra Gugu or whoever the Romanian team of the week is because we have such a small squad. Anyway, Charlie, what do you think? What's the ceiling and floor? How high can we fly on wings of eagles?
Frankel's a fool. No, I think
You guys are like Don Meredith and Howard Cosell on Monday Night Football when I was a kid. That's nobody gets that reference here because you're either all too young or too English. But anyway, it's a good one, and you should appreciate it.
I appreciate anything you do, Lee. I'd appreciate.
Yeah, well, see,
Oh my God!
I know. Well, hey,
Suck up anymore.
you could do a little more of that, Frankel.
Thank you, Lee. You should shut up, Adam. No, I think ultimately, I don't know is the answer. I really genuinely don't know. Also, actually, Vernon, it was only 130 calories. It was Walker's prawn cocktail.
That sounds vile.
It's beautiful. It is beautiful. I don't like prawns in general. Prawn cocktail crisps or sesame prawn toast from
flavored
Chinese.
crisps. I don't get the flavored crisps. My favorite flavor is like potato with salt. You know what I mean?
Don't get me wrong. I love ready salted crisps as well. But
is that what they're called? Ready salted?
Ready
salted crisps.
That's what Walkers are called, isn't it? Ready salted crisps.
God-fearing Americans call them potato chips. Okay, if you want to be a communist, you call them crisps. I know that's up to you. But I'm just saying.
Well, comrade. Unfortunately, we're going with ready salted today. They're red packets. We're sticking with it. But,
all right. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
I think it's. I find it really difficult to tell because to give Adam his credit, I do think that the thing about luck and all that is correct. I think we have been really lucky in a couple of matches, and I think they make the results look better than they are to an extent. I think we're higher than we should be because of those things. But and when I tend to look at these things too pragmatically. I tend to look at it and say, well, if you keep being lucky, eventually that's going to run out. And not in terms of we're going to get battered, we'll just go back down to our mean. And I think our mean at this point, our median, whatever average you want to look at it for, I would say it's probably between 8th and 14th. And I would say it's probably around the sort of 11th, 12th position. Because our squad is so thin, but it's not even just the 21 players we have, 4 of which are goalkeepers, although that is obviously a huge issue. It's the squad that David Moyes trusts to put on the pitch is so thin. You know, we had Sebastian Haller, but that was almost like not having depth because it was just not working for him in a David Moyes system, you know? And so so it's not really depth in a sense. We're putting him out there, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to work unless he pulls off an overhead kick again and does something stupid like that, you know? So I think the thing is over this window and over the summer, what I want to see us have, and this is coming from someone who doesn't like David Moyes, as you know, I want to see us really invest in him and make it so he has the depth. So then we can go further than this. But as of right now, I think probably our limit is probably the top echelon would be 8th, but I think realistically we'll probably finish about 12th.
So kind of going off of what you were just saying right there, Charlie, and it's kind of twofold in the question, and it's open to everybody too. With you saying in the summer that we need to back Moyes, I guess now I know you've asked this question, has he finally done enough for you to justify him getting re-signed?
So Sally, I like you, and I think you're looking good today. No, honestly, I think
he looks good there. Check him out in his picture. Look at his profile.
Oh, I know. Look at that professional. Look at that.
I mean, that's impressive. I'll tell you what. That's back when he was in the military. See, he was like, he was a fighting machine.
Now he's a student, and he's
a student. He's all soft. Yeah, he's all soft. He's a snowflake now.
I respect it.
Anyway, go ahead.
It's. Do you know what? I said this on the show. I was watching the Irish Tommies and Chris's post-match show yesterday, or whenever the match was. I've genuinely forgotten at this point when the match was, but I was watching that, and I said on there that I think he should have a new contract. Now, if I was in charge, would I be happy about giving him a new contract? No. But realistically, what more can a man do to earn it?
That's fair. Yeah.
Just being real about it. Like, I wouldn't want to give it to him because I don't particularly like him. And I think he's riding his luck a little bit, but he's riding his luck to consistent results and points at this point. We've got the highest points tally we've had in however long, if ever. I can't even remember what the stat is. Like, we've got stupid points. We're getting good results. I am more confident of us going up against Liverpool than I was West Brom. We're in a good position. As much as I don't like the guy, you have to at some point give him the goddamn contract and support him. I mean,
Yeah, Charlie.
again,
By the way, Charlie, the stat is we have more points at this point in the Premier League than ever before. Just because I know information and knowledge is something.
is that what it is? Is that what it is? Just very, very quickly, what are you eating?
It's actually a cheeseburger spring roll. It's an incredible creation.
You want to talk about American food? Jesus Christ!
What is that?
What?
It's phenomenal. Hang on, it comes with like this 1,000. Let me take a bite and show you the inside. Hang on.
There is a Philly cheesesteak spring roll too that is
Why don't you take a bite and open
ridiculously good.
Just take a bite and open your mouth. Oh, that does look pretty good.
Mm.
So do you know what?
And,
Here's the difference between me and you, Adam. Right? So
that does look pretty good.
I didn't eat dinner tonight because I wanted to invade Adam's show. But what I did have is I had a couple of spring rolls as well. But here's the difference between me and you, and here's is why you died and I didn't. Vegetable. And I didn't even eat all of them. I only ate 3 of the 4.
Mate, it's still deep fried.
Yeah, but it's got vegetables.
Yeah, come on.
Vegetables in it, you know?
I bet you two are like secretly related. You're brothers and you don't even know about it.
They fight like brothers.
It would explain a lot of things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they argue.
It would
like-
explain a lot of things. It would
It would be
explain.
pretty cool because I guess you always get a successful brother and a less successful brother. So
Yeah. No, I don't belie your
You
success.
better tell us which one you are.
Yeah, look,
you don't need to be told, Lee. Come on.
You don't need to be told. Look how many views I get. Look how many views Adam gets. Fine. Look, I don't look. Adam's more successful than I am. He owns a business.
Look who judges their success on how many people view a channel on YouTube.
Listen.
My
Adam owns
son-
more money than I do. He runs a company. He's a good man. He does good things. He's just a terrible host, and he should probably stick to his company where he's actually good at doing.
Adam owns a company. You run a
Yeah.
company, Adam? Oh wow!
Look at him. He's a CEO.
Wow, excellent.
That's what a CEO looks like.
Yeah,
Fucking
that-
drink it in, Lee. Drink it in.
I am. I'm soaking it in. I didn't know that. I don't know. Actually, I don't ever know what anybody does. Okay, on our channel, it's rare that I ask. Only if I talk to people after the show do I find out what people do for a living. Like, what does Wally do? I have no idea. I think I think
Wally
Wally's
drinks.
he's a raconteur. He's a professional raconteur. He just tells stories, and he's sort of he gallivants, and he's a raconteur.
He lives
That's
his
what
life to the max. He lives his life to the fullest extent. You know.
That's what he does. He's
I
a
can see
raconteur.
that. He's a libertine.
Yeah.
Mm.
John is a propagandist, all right, for some big government entity. All right, I don't know, probably some sort of authoritarian government entity, as far as I know.
Who's that? Me?
Yeah, you. Yeah. Selly,
Yeah,
Selly,
that's fine.
Selly's a fighter pilot, as we all know. And I do American Hammers TV. That's what I do for a living. This is what I only work one night a week, and it's pretty lucrative. I was able to buy the flag back there, so it's working out pretty well.
Miss
Anyway.
Charlie, what's Charlie doing?
Oh, I just assume he's on the dole.
Yeah, I mean, it says it on my shirt. I eat, I sleep. You know.
And he gets views on YouTube.
Charlie is able to join us at 2:00 in the morning at the drop of a hat. So I figure, there's not a lot of actual employment going on. Yeah, that's what I figured.
Depressingly true. If anyone is hiring, I did try and get a work off Alan earlier. So if anyone is hiring, if anyone wants to give me money to do something, I can. I did. There you go. That's very true. I can spell. Ads.
I'm gonna tell you something about the board members. Okay, if they wanted to hire an adult actress, they should have hired Lena because she knows her football. All right, Lena knows her football. She's smart and she's funny and she knows her football. She knows West Ham. And if Sullivan should have gotten her on the board because she's the real thing. If they wanted to have somebody in that profession, they should have gotten her instead of his I don't know, girlfriend, whatever she is. But anyway, that's my take. Trevor, stay awake, buddy. Come on, stay with us. I don't know what this is all about. All right, so as we were saying, so Charlie, you don't think we'll finish top half then?
Realistically, no. I think it's a tough ask. I think part of the biggest frustration with the board not spending for me isn't necessarily that it's like, oh, we need to be spending. It's that everyone else around us is. and I feel like everyone around us takes 3 steps forward when we take 1 step forward max, and that we might be moving in a forward direction, but they're moving a hell of a lot faster than we are. I think you look at the top half, there is an increasing amount of teams who are consolidating their positions in that area. And then you have teams like Southampton who are doing some really good things right now and are showing that actually they have what it takes to step up into that position. And I think we're 2 steps behind everyone else in that sense. Even if we give David Moyes the thing, that's great, but we need to invest because the other clubs have got their managers and they've been investing for a while.
But there's an inverse relationship.
Who's investing? Who's going to look very different at the end of January than they do now? It ain't going to be Tottenham. I don't think it'll be Everton. It won't be Chelsea. They're not going to give Lampard more money. It probably ain't going to be Arsenal. Maybe Southampton, maybe Villa to try and consolidate where they're going. But who are we competing against that looks that different than who we're competing against now?
To be fair, I don't disagree with you that, but what I mean, I think maybe I word it differently. It's investing over a course of a couple of seasons as opposed to now. I agree with you. I don't think many people will look too different. I think they'll mostly look the same. But I think you'll look at, say, Leicester, Southampton, Everton. They've all had managers. They've been in for a while. They've been investing in those managers for a while. They've been investing in their team for a while. The people we've invested in, we're trying to get sold for as cheaply and as quickly as humanly possible. You look at Haller, you look at Anson, people like that.
Let me just throw this out there, though, okay? Just as a devil's advocate thing. We took 7 points off of those 3 clubs in the first half of the season.
But again, I feel like we've been too lucky. And I think I look at it and I just think eventually you revert back. You know, if you look at, say, XG as a figure, we had very good XG at the beginning and we were outperforming it, whereas now it's dipped down because we're reverting to sort of where we should be as a club. And it's just a case of we're behind them by a year. We're behind them by 2 years.
Or is it because Antonio's been out? Is it because Masuaku's been out? Is it injuries? We've changed formation. We've had to change style.
I don't disagree with you again, but if we'd been investing in this for a while, that wouldn't be a problem. If we had consistent investment and a consistent structure, and that's what I mean. That's the difference between us and them, you know. When Southampton go out, you know, when they have say Danny Ings gets whatever, they can bring in Che Adams, who's nowhere near the level of Danny Ings, but he suits their system. He knows exactly what they're doing. Hasenhüttl has a style, a system, and they've bought to fit inside that system, and they've been doing it for years. You know, that's the difference when that's
a cultural problem that we've had for a long time.
And that's what I mean. Even if we do, and so with David Moyes, it's like even though we have him and he's doing well now, he is now hampered because we haven't done it for long enough. And again, realistically, we should have a director of football who has a style, and if that's David Moyes' style, that's great. But then the person before David Moyes should be someone David Moyes-esque and not Pellegrini-esque. But that's what I mean by they're ahead and they're looking better. It's not necessarily what's happening in January; it's what's happening for the rest, and that long term is going to affect us more negatively, in my opinion, than it would most teams in the league. You know, there are very few teams in the league who are trying to get rid of their 2 top signings who signed the previous year and then the year before that as well, for again as cheaply as humanly possible. It's kind of like it's just bad.
But yes, but wait a minute. Who else went out and bought a right back for £5 million, whatever it was, who's turned out to be fantastic? Who else went out and bought Craig Dawson, the butt of jokes? You know, everybody. This is like everybody was giving the new Roger Johnson. If you watch the West Ham Clips alternative commentary today, that was brilliant. You guys should watch it. Really need to watch that. It's fantastic. Maybe I'll find the link and put it up. I mean, I'm not necessarily giving Moyes credit. I'm just saying we've unearthed some talent here that nobody thought. Thomas Souček, you know, comes out of nowhere basically for a very reasonable fee for what he's given us. Yeah. I mean, you think I'm with you, Charlie, and obviously we need more investment. We have a lack of investment from this board. The better we get, the less they invest because the less they panic, right? Yeah, but at the same time, we've unearthed some gems, I think.
I think that's we definitely got lucky in the terms of like, you know, Souček, Soufal, and obviously Bowen. But I think a big reason too, kind of at the opposite of what Charlie was saying too, you know, like and John for that matter, is, you know, it's kind of been a culture to not really add depth, but at the same time, we haven't helped ourselves by selling the depth that we have had. And for whatever reason, and I'm not going to sit here and say that everybody that's been on the team the past couple of years has earned a spot being on a Premier League team, but I think it's one of those things to where, do we really give somebody a try? Because we've let some people go who have just been killing it. Now, I think a lot of that is also said to the point of where we don't play a system that is conducive to the players that we have, because when we go into the transfer market, we just go out, just get people,
we do. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, Hilaire, it's, well documented. We didn't play to suit his strengths, which is something you should do when you spend that kind of money on somebody who's your club record signing. I think at the beginning of Anderson's career, we did play, or not career, but, his time here, we played a system that suited him. And then once it switched and he had to do a little bit more defensively, he just completely crumbled. So I think, it's unfortunate, but I think it's definitely double. It's, two sides of the same coin. We don't have depth and we give it away, and even Diangana for that matter, obviously the most recent one. I think if we were to still play that, the left wing back or the 5 at the back, he could have filled in for Masuaku or something like that. I don't know, but there's no reason that we shouldn't have more people to play the positions that we need them to play.
What about? I mean, okay, we talked about earlier on. We talked about Odubeku, who gets 4 minutes against Stockport. He's on the bench against Burnley, but he never comes in because that match was a little edgy. And
he should play this weekend. He needs to.
I would think he would play this weekend, right? But I mean, surely, and we've heard that Moyes is really high on him for whatever that's worth. But surely, with Antonio being prone to another injury at any moment, you got to be working this guy into the team, right? I mean, are we really going with Andriy Yarmolenko as the potentially starting striker?
Which, let's be real, will be the exact same problem as Sebastian Haller.
Well,
there's no difference between him. And so
Yarmolenko's slower and he's not as good.
my exact counter argument for that, though, when you're talking about who's bought Kafar and stuff, is exactly what Sally said. Robert Snodgrass, realistically, third choice centre midfielder, right?
Sure.
Like, if you want to put Lanzini or Fornals there, shove him in, sure. But realistically, behind Kufa, behind Souček and behind Rice's third choice, what other club in the league is selling their third choice midfielder for next to no money and doesn't have a replacement lined up, let alone in the squad?
Yeah. But we had the gentleman's agreement. Don't forget about that, Charlie. We had the gentleman's agreement.
and it came up trumps for us.
A little wink,
it might also come up literally Trump for us in a court sense, but we'll see what happens there. In reality, it's worked out for us. But it's rough. It's rough. I think Odubeku, I still don't know why he wasn't in that game. Someone said in the live chat on something I was doing that apparently he was sheltering from COVID or something. I don't know.
I did hear something about him sheltering from COVID,
but I didn't see anyone actually say that officially. And it's
I haven't seen that either.
Then why is he not there? What are we waiting for? He's the second choice striker. Please, just have him at least on the bench.
That's the way I feel too. I mean, listen, I'll give Yarmo some credit, okay? The assist against Everton, the assist for the winner against West Brom. I mean, Yarmo, when he's come on, has not been that bad. It's not as bad as everybody says. But for the wages he's on and the money he costs, he's obviously not producing what we expected. I think it's fair to say. And he's slow.
I think I mean, our squad is obviously very slim, but I think you look at a team as well like Liverpool. And what Liverpool have done so well is cultivate their youngsters in getting them involved. Yeah, true.
No, I'm with you. I think Anderson's done. I don't even want to talk about him. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't. I think he's done as well. But that's the thing. Liverpool, surprisingly enough, do not have a huge squad. They really don't. And what they do is they bring on Curtis Jones. You've got Reece Williams, Phillips, Nico Williams, a bunch of young, 2000, 2001 kids. Yeah. And what Jurgen Klopp does so well is incorporate those kids, but they get game time. And so the problem is that I just don't know. It's almost like we're mixing too many tactics, but the bad half of all the tactics. If we were going to try and put our youth through and slim down our squad to give the kids a go.
Yeah.
All right. I'm fine with that.
Right.
But you've got to play them. So, but he doesn't seem to trust the youngsters either. So I don't know what he's trying to do.
I'm with you, Adam. It frustrates me that, and as you know, I back Moyes and I like Moyes. I backed him when he came and saved us the first time. And I don't love him. I don't think he's the future, but I do think he's the present, if that makes sense. So I back him and I say, give him a new contract, give him a couple more years, and then, bring in Scott Parker, obviously. But no, but I mean, I do think he's a guy who he trusts the veterans. He doesn't tend to trust the kids. I know he's basically made Declan Rice our captain, which kind of runs counter to what I'm saying, but Declan's a special talent. I think we all know that. Clearly, he doesn't seem to have a lot of faith in the youth. On the other hand, are they good enough? I mean, some of these guys we thought were going to come up, they haven't made it. Who was the guy we sold? Whose name I can never remember.
Did we sell Holland? Did we just sell him?
No, Holland is still in the club.
It's not Coventry. It's not Coventry. It's not Holland. It's Cullen. I was getting Coventry and Cullen mixed up. Yeah. My little son's best friend's name is Cullen. That's funny. I don't know why I just thought of that. Cullen just what is he, like 24? He just didn't make it. Like he's going to be in League One. There have been a bunch of other guys who have been these great prospects, and it's like either our academy is failing them, or they're just not good enough, because it's not like they leave West Ham and somebody else snaps them up in the Premier League. You know what I mean? They float down into lower leagues.
Well, Cullen's gone to Anderlecht and has been starting for them recently in the Belgian league, which is which
is low level. I mean,
it is, but they're a European level team.
Well, sure they are, because they're the biggest team in Belgium.
Yeah, but they do okay in Europe,
I mean,
and as well, me and Charlie were actually talking about this earlier. You know what? I'm quite involved. I know quite a few of the younger lads at FC Dallas. And so I've watched them play over the years through the academy. And the margins are so small between there are kids who have definitely got talent. But how do we know if they're good enough if they're not getting minutes on the pitch?
Right.
A good example, I was talking to these guys earlier. There's a young lad at FC Dallas. He's only made 15 MLS starts, and Juventus and a bunch of the top teams in Europe are looking to sign him, and he will go to a European team in this transfer window. Yet he's only played he's started 15 MLS matches. And before he started those matches, he almost wasn't going to get a new contract. And so, the margins are so slim. But it really comes down to the fact that if we don't give these guys a go, they're never going to be good enough. Because on a match day, you know what? It's a different thing. You hear all the time, and you watch these behind-the-scenes documentaries on Amazon. Some of these players, they're not maybe the best in training, but they score in the games. They become big.
Well, it's Allen Iverson, right? We're talking about practice. You know what I mean? And he didn't care about practice, but he was obviously a fantastic player.
One thing I'll say too that doesn't benefit really anybody in the academy, I guess, outside of Johnson and Rice, is the fact that we've had 3 managers in 4 seasons. It seems like. So I feel like whenever you get a new manager in, that's somebody new who's got to go in and rediscover and go and watch games and see, okay, is this kid good enough? And just to Adam's point, Pellegrini can come in and see, a Holland as oh yeah, okay, we're going to get this kid some playing time, and he gave him some playing time. And then David Moyes comes in and he's like, oh no, I don't rate him, he's not good enough. Let's put him out on loan. Because and at that same token, obviously we don't see him in practice. We don't know how it is. And, I think not performing well in practice definitely has something to do with not getting any game time. But I feel like we're going to get to that point. And if it's not this season, if we qualify for Europe in any facet next year, we'll see it then. But, if we're not stuck, that's not the right word to use. But if we're in a position to where we need to use academy players because we're not buying anybody, you're going to have to force feed the situation, and you're going to, pretty much trial by fire. And I don't think you want to find out if a player is good or not by putting them in a game that means something, which granted every game means something, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I mean, I don't.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see Odebeku play more than 4 minutes against Stockport, right?
Yeah, and I'm not going to sit here and say that every kid deserves a run out, but at the same time, I feel like we've had so many people recently who have been right there, either going on a loan, either featuring for us at a time or two. It's like, well, why not give them, some time, so I don't know. I mean, I don't really even see it as a catch-22. I just think, if we're not going to buy anybody, you're going to have to use your academy at some point. And, it's the only way you're going to find out if they're going to be somebody you want to keep or not is if they're able to play.
I got to play devil's advocate. I have to, because they're going to be good enough to play. They have to be good enough to play. Josh Cullen didn't play for West Ham because he wasn't good enough. There's people his age right now, Jared Bowen, Saeed Benrahma, that are playing for West Ham.
And he didn't play for anybody else either. He didn't play for anybody else either, right, John? He didn't get snapped up by another Premier League club.
He gets snapped up. What do you go? He went out to Charlton on loan. I think they had some interest in maybe keeping him over there.
But he's like going to Oxford now, I think, someplace like that. Yeah.
Well, he's out in the Dutch league, and he's
that's right. They were saying, well, but point being, it's not like some other Premier League club said, "I can't believe you passed on this guy." Do you know what I mean?
No. Exactly. Yeah, they've got to be good. These kids have to be good. It's a different game now, I think, than it was 20 years ago, where you could try out a bunch of players. You could try out a Joe Cole, Frank Lampard, Michael Carrick, and you could try him at 16, 17, 18. You're not going to see even Wayne Rooney started at 16. Yeah. Who are we seeing that's starting at 16 these days? Well, Phil Foden wasn't starting at 16, I don't think. I mean,
there are examples of people who do it, but I think it's a case of you can't try them all at once. You have to try them individually at times. You have to pick and choose when you can, and it will be one person here and one person there. And especially, I think it's not the game that's changed necessarily. I think it's more just the pressure on managers is so much more higher now than it was back in the day, because there's no patience. It's like you get success now or you're gone. Look at Lampard. Lampard's a great example.
The penalty for relegation is extremely severe. All right, if you're in that situation, the financial penalty for relegation is massive. Especially right now with no fans on the ground. But yes, Charlie, you're right about Lampard. I mean, they're gonna sack him, and he's
right.
It's like in his second.
He's not even a relegation threat. I mean, the European football is worth so much money that being outside the top six is relegation for any of those teams.
Exactly.
Ironically, as well, the season he had that was good was the one he put all the youth players in. But I think it's a case of you have to pick and choose. So it's not a case of we should be playing Odebeku, Holland, all of these people at the same time, Cullen if he was still here, whoever at the same time. But it's a case of giving them game time as and when you can.
Right.
And I think without making this a Moyes thing, one of his issues has been he's not given them the chances when he could. Yeah. And it's a case of you do kind of have to sink or swim at some point. Sometimes you have to put people in, even if you're not, if they're the top level of your academy and you're running a thin squad like we are, what's the difference? Why is he not even on the bench?
Well,
look at who he has put in, and Ngakia played. He would have been a starter. He probably still would have been around either on the right or on the left. He's played Johnston. I believe he was the person that brought through Rice for the first time, I think, if I'm correct.
I think that was Bilic.
Or at least started making him a regular.
He became a regular under Moyes, but he did start first under Bilic, but he became a regular under Moyes.
So I think he's there. I don't think he's as afraid to play the youth as what everybody thinks he is. When he was at Everton, he brought through the youth as well.
I agree, and that's the thing. It's like the Everton thing is what confuses me most, is because he did bring through a lot of youth players at Everton, but it's like.
And he played Rooney at 16, as Kieran mentioned. Somebody mentioned he played Rooney.
Counterpoint. I mean, to be fair, Rooney's a special talent, just like
of course.
But the counterpoint to that is, then why do we have 3 centre backs on our bench instead of any attacking youth players?
Yeah, well, and I think one thing too, with the academy is I think as John was saying that times have changed. Is I think there's so much pressure to sign new players that it kind of overshadows, giving a chance to academy players. Because normally when you put an academy player in, it's like during the course of a season between windows, obviously. But yeah, I mean that's a great point, Charlie. There's no point, to have 3 goalkeepers suited for a game and you don't have a backup, attacking position.
But I think I see both perspectives here, John. What you're saying
yeah.
and what I don't actually think you're disagreeing with each other. I think that there are
No.
two issues. One, I think you're right that Moyes doesn't play the youth enough. On the other hand, and kind of the counterpoint to that is, are they actually good enough? Is our academy good enough? That may be the bigger question. It's not. I mean,
Well, where are the
there's
opportunities, Lee? Right? So
Right,
Odebeku would have got in the other night, no doubt. If we were 2-0 up after 45 minutes, Antonio would have been pulled at half-time. But look at the performance. So it's not even just relying on the kids being good enough. It's relying on the opportunities to bring them in situations that, A, aren't going to damage them, like Allardyce putting out fucking 11 youngsters and getting smashed in the cup.
Yeah.
which was egregious. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, are we producing? I mean, are our players good enough? The other problem is, of course, the style we play. You know, it's the Premier League. We're not going to get a lot of 3-0, 4-0 opportunities where we go way up and we take the last 15, 20 minutes. We say, let's have the kids have a run out. You know what I mean? That we don't do that. You know, we couldn't. It took us 85 minutes to score against Stockport. You know.
Well, and I guess to be fair too, with everything that we're saying, you know, speaking about academy players, this Diangana was going to be the next kid in that starting 11. You know, if he wasn't sold, or if not in the starting 11, he definitely would have made, you know, some regular minutes. So I think, you know, we can't overlook that either.
No, we can't overlook the David Sullivan influence, which is everywhere and pervasive and destructive at every level. But no, it's true. I mean, yes, they should have more opportunities, but I do think there's a real question of, I mean, so Alan's telling us that this is the most talented bunch of players we've had since, you know, the famous sort of 20 years ago, 25 years ago, the Carrick, Defoe, Lampard days, late 90s, I guess.
Well, where's the proof?
Well, that's what I
If
wanted.
you
I mean,
include Declan Rice.
well,
Yeah,
okay. If you include Declan Rice, then sure. Declan Rice is a special talent who kind of sort of came from our academy and kind of sort of didn't because he was with Chelsea prior to that. But I mean, I don't want to say that Alan's wrong. I'm sure he's right. I'm sure he follows this more closely than I do. But I do wonder, like, where are these guys coming through? And you'd think that if we had this wave of, you know, academy talent coming through, that there'd be all sorts of other clubs trying to pick these guys off when they're young. You know what I mean?
There is, though.
Well, who?
How often do we see it? I can't remember their names because I don't pay too much attention. I'm an idiot as well.
I mean, other than Declan, which is obvious. Yeah.
There's like a lot. I mean, how many times do we see, Bayern Munich are after this youngster of ours, Barcelona are after this youngster of ours? It does happen. It doesn't happen once they get to 18 because they've been wasted, but it does happen. Like at the youth levels, from like 15 to 17, there is people who get, and some will get picked off, but some don't. And it's like, the people are there. It's about developing a pathway through to the first team consistently. And that's, I think, what Adam said, again, begrudgingly, correctly, is you look at like Liverpool, who obviously do that consistently. They're the best team in the league. Not only that, they have depth in a lot of positions, but not only that, they consistently play their youth players. They found, and Liverpool have designed, like, if you ever listen to anyone who's worked at Liverpool or like Klopp or anyone who's spoken about it, talking about how they changed as a club over the last 5 years, partly in design of getting the youth players more opportunities, you're getting them in better training facilities, getting them in everything. This is kind of where we need to be pushing. These people are talented. We have a lot of talented youth players. We hear a lot about Odebeku. We hear a lot about Nathan Holland. We hear a lot about all of these people.
Yeah.
But unless we can push them in that sense to get them in those positions to actually play first team minutes, it doesn't matter. Because again, begrudgingly, as Adam said, until you're getting first team football, the jump between youth team and senior football is huge. It's massive. Sometimes you get someone like Freddie Sears who can score 40 goals in the youth team and then gets his chance in the first team, scores a couple, but then disappears.
That's the textbook example of the great youth, the Freddie Adu of West Ham, the great youth player who just doesn't. Yeah. He just doesn't. It never happens.
But then sometimes you get people who are the exact opposite way around, who weren't pulling up any trees at youth level, but then for some reason they get an opportunity and then they flourish. How long did it take Harry Kane to become first team striker at Tottenham? I swear he was like 24 when he was actually started playing for them. And then even then everyone was like, who? And then 2 seasons later, everyone's like, oh. Like these things happen, you know, it's ebbs and flows and it's all about opportunities. It's all fine margins. And so without giving them that time on the pitch, they can't step over that line at any point. They have to be given it at some point.
We did, Wally. We did. We're at the very beginning. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. It's a catch-22. I mean, like, it's that double-edged thing. Like people say, well, if the players were good enough, other teams will be knocking on the door to get them. But we've not put them on the window because they're not playing any minutes to gain the confidence and to see if they can adapt to that level. So it really is like it's a catch-22. If we don't give them the minutes, we can't see if they're good enough for that level, and nor can anybody else to be interested in buying them. You know, like what you said, Sally, earlier on. You look at Diangana. We started giving him minutes, and look what happened. We gave Ngakia minutes. Look at what happened.
Yeah.
You know,
one thing, I guess, kind of talking about opportunities. You know, would this weekend's match, you know, against Stockport be an opportunity for a Meepo or you know, possibly one other person? You know, obviously we don't have to throw out the entire academy, you know, for a 4th round match, and obviously Stockport's not going to be a breeze.
Doncaster.
But
Doncaster.
You already beat Stockport.
You know what? There's a lot of clubs in England, right?
but yeah, I mean, even Stockport, you know, regardless, them, Doncaster, whoever the case may be, you know, until you start getting into the later rounds of the cups, you know, would this be a bad time to give somebody a run out? You know, maybe 45 minutes just to see, you know, what you have. And I know 45 minutes isn't the best of sample sizes, but, you know, who knows? I mean, Diangana's first start for the club was in the cup, and he got a goal. He got 2 goals, if I'm not mistaken. You know, so I don't know. I mean, it is interesting, and Lee, to your point too, I don't think any of us are disagreeing with each other. You know,
I want to see you play Selly. I do.
Yeah.
It's part of our DNA. You know, we can't have the Academy of Football printed on the side of our fucking carpet and not play any young kids.
Well,
I mean, that's who we are. That's what we should be doing.
If we're not going to buy players, we have to bring players through.
Yeah,
that's all
right.
there is.
And it's creating the opportunities to do that where we're not putting ourselves in danger. I mean, that probably, I think teams like Liverpool can get away with it a bit more. I don't disagree with you, Charlie, but they're in a good position where they know that 10 of those 11 players, if they just want to start one youth player, those other 10 will give the extra 10% to make up for any deficiencies.
Right.
Yeah.
We can't necessarily say that, especially not a striker. I mean, I want to see Odebeke. I really do. And he looks brilliant from all accounts, from what we've seen coming out of the youth. But that's a lot of weight to put on his shoulders straight away. I think the others that we're talking about Ben Johnson absolutely needs more minutes.
Yes.
Absolutely. He's got to build his confidence because he looks good. He just looks green and he needs time. And it's obvious that he is going to be a good player. He just needs time. And then who else are we talking about, really? We're talking about, we want to see Nathan Holland. I think he's out on loan.
Yep.
Maybe
so he's somewhere else.
Nathan Holland's 23 at the moment. He's just sat there doing nothing.
Is he? Oh, is he back?
Yeah, he was on the bench, I think, for the last cup match that we had. We had a lot of academy players in the cup, in our cup bench last time.
Well, I think
Holland was one of them.
I think we thought we were going to run out to a 3-4-0 lead. And it didn't work out that way. We needed the strong team all the way to the end, basically.
Well, I would argue the opposite as well, though. Is true. So Odebeke, for example, against Stockport, what was the danger in putting him on at half time? Antonio wasn't working.
Yeah, that's true.
To be fair,
on that pitch.
Yeah, Stockport is a difficult example because part of it could be, and this is me, David, giving Devin Moyes some of the benefit of the doubt here. He might have looked at it and said, "That pitch is goddamn shocking." if our first senior players can't deal with it, do you know what? There's no point putting him out there, him not having a good performance, getting slaughtered, and then destroying his confidence. That's me giving him the benefit of the doubt, which I don't want to give him because the next game he wasn't even on the goddamn bench. But let's just give him that for now.
But look at the benefit of that same doubt, Charlie. You're like, I know. So instead of running him out, we'll run out the player with the most injury-prone hamstrings that we have on the worst pitch possible because that looks like a great idea.
Yeah, it's madness. It actually is madness. But realistically, like Holland, for example, Holland is getting very close to make or break at this point. He's 22. He's going to be.
Yeah, that's what Rob was just saying. Yeah,
like at some point, he is going to have to. It's going to be make or break. It could be another Cullen situation where he sticks around to 24 and then goes away, but like he has to do it at some point. The problem with him is that wingers and centre backs are the only two positions we actually have depth in. Everywhere else, we don't have backup players. Like so, there's opportunities for everyone. Like for example, Connor Coventry, who seems to be almost ready in a sense. He might have an opportunity because we've only got Noble as a centre mid back up and then that's it. So there's potentially an opportunity for him to come in. Holland's never getting in. Never. And so unless he's out on loan, it's pointless. He's just sat there in the under 23s doing nothing. He was on loan at Oxford, for your point, John, by the way, and then he got injured and came back. And then he started this season with us, and he's just been in the under 23 since. He didn't go back
Listen,
out.
you've got a lot of knowledge there. You'd probably be pretty good on hammer shots, Charlie.
You think that if the cards weren't stacked against me, but there we go. There we go. This guy buys one Lanzini shirt. All of a sudden, he thinks he's hot S word. But here we are. Eating his goddamn
S word. Are you 10?
I don't want to.
It's after 10 p.m. on the East Coast.
This
You can cuss,
goddamn
it's fine.
cheeseburger spring roll eating lunatic over here. Flipping hell. Just in case my mum's watching.
This
Oh,
is actually a pretty good point that Fo makes. There has been some extenuating circumstances in the the youth team with COVID and so forth. My favorite part about this whole discussion, okay, the thing I like best about this whole discussion is it's beautifully organic. All right, it's come just from the seeds that we've sown intellectually here tonight, and we're off to the best start ever in Premier League history. Okay, or in our history in Premier League. We're not in a relegation battle, at least right now. I don't think we will be. We're 8 points off the top. We took 6 points since the last time we had a show, and all we could do is complain.
I'm very good.
What's wrong with the academy? What's wrong with boys? What's wrong? That's the best thing I love about it, is because.
Oh my God, are we Tottenham fans in disguise?
No. I mean, no. It's a constructive form of complaining, right? But it is kind of funny. It is kind of funny to me, But I mean, at the same time, it's true.
To be fair, I even remember doing, because I did videos during the Bilic season that went well, and even then there was still a significant amount of complaining getting done. And we almost got Champions League that season, and even then we were like, why does he just keep throwing more strikers onto the pitch with no regard for formation?
Let me tell you, I'm glad you brought that up. I've been thinking about that season a lot lately because people have compared this season to that season. All right.
Yeah.
That was a vastly better team, in my opinion.
I think it was.
And I'm talking about the players, player for player. I think we had better players on that team. We had one of the top 20 players in the world, legitimately, in Dimitri Payet. I mean, I'm not taking nothing away from this season's guys. All right, they've been really good. Okay, but we have like a scrappy, hardworking right back. We have a tough center back he's played way above our expectations of him.
Had a really nice striker pairing too.
Right. I mean, right. Well, you mean back then? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Back then, and a relatively healthy Andy Carroll, which was completely shocking. Winston Reed was playing. Nobody saw that. Well, that was probably the last time he was healthy for a season. The thing that's crazy though is, I mean, if you look at the team that we put out, I would say against like the road games against Arsenal and Manchester City, I think those squads are better. But I think honestly, the squad that we put out for the last match at the Bowl-In, I don't know if they beat this squad. And I know they put up 2 on Manchester United, and Manchester United didn't like mess about with what they had. Yeah. But I mean, you had Reed was playing, you had Carroll was playing. Who else? Obviously, Payet was in. Obviously, Mark Noble was in.
You had multiple, Reed in his prime. Andy Carroll was actually healthy there for a little while. We had one of the top 20 players in the world in Payet. I mean, you had like international players in their primes. And this, I love this team that we have right now. All right. I love them because they're scrappy. They're winning games they would usually draw. They're drawing games they would usually lose. And I think that's great. That's what we need to do. I personally love the fact that we have learned to beat the teams around us in the table, even if we don't always beat the top 6. Except for Newcastle, the opening match of the season, all of our other losses have come against the quote unquote big clubs. Arsenal are struggling. We know that, but Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea, right? Those are our 4 losses. Okay. You can write off all of those. But the beautiful thing to me is instead of winning against the top 6 once every 40 tries and losing to, Burnley and Brighton and all the rest of them, we're actually beating the clubs around us for once and racking up points. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So then we go into Liverpool in a couple of weeks or whenever that is, we don't have to get a result in order to survive. We could go in there and just be like, hey, let's see how well we can do, So I give Moyes credit for that. But the reason I started about all this with the Bilic thing is I think Bilic bottled that season. I think we should have been so much better. It's all revision. I think we were legitimately Champions League quality. We beat a Tottenham team that came in, could have won the league, fundamentally could have won the league that night at the Boleyn when we beat them 1-0. I mean, if they'd won, I think they were going to take it from there. And we ended up losing to like Stoke toward the end of the season. I mean, after all these, we bottled it. And I think Bilic was overrated as a manager, quite frankly. I think he got bailed out by a lot of great players. That's how I feel.
Oh, you weren't lying about those hot takes. Jeez.
I can't be the only person to say this, right? I still see people saying like we shouldn't have sacked Bilic. Of course we should have. Everybody sacks Bilic. He has one good season. He has one good season. He loses control the next season. That's what happens every time.
To be fair, he did get sacked pretty unfairly this year after getting a pretty decent result for that club on the road.
I was surprised they sacked him. I understand bringing in Allardyce because what Allardyce does if you're in a relegation battle. I wouldn't have sacked Bilic if I were West Brom. But I mean, he always gets sacked. He gets sacked everywhere he goes. It's who he is. It's how he is. Anyway, I'm not. It's not that I love Moyes. It's just that there's a stability about Moyes. I think he's proven it over his career that makes me more comfortable going into the future than I was with Bilic when he had that that comet from nowhere, lightning in a bottle season, and that
I don't know
back to normal.
I think we can say that in hindsight, but if we went into that
pure hindsight,
and looked at it at the time, we would have gone, "Yo, this is the best position we've been in a long
This
time."
is a very sad statement, by the way, Rebecca. That is really awful. We got to do better if that's true. Anyway.
I know Frank was here. He's literally dragging it down for all of us. Look, I think you've got to look at it a bit more fairly than that. I think at the time, going into the London Stadium with Bilic, you would have been like, oh, we've got this sorted. We've got a manager who's playing the West Ham way almost. We've got we've got a world-class player, and we've got a bunch of good players surrounding him. We would have thought it was banging. It just turned out not to be the case because that's the way these things work out. Like, I think actually, I don't know if our starting 11 is too far off what Bilic's was in terms of quality. I mean, you've got Rice and Souček, who are one of the best pairing in the league. You've got
players around them. Yeah,
you've got Antonio, who is fit and firing better a striker than we had back then. You've got our right back is better. Our left back
Antonio was a winger back then too, or he might have even been.
He was the right back for Bilic.
When you said scrappy right back with heart, I couldn't tell whether you were talking about Antonio.
Bilic had Antonio at right back. You can't excuse that. Come on.
And Zinni and Cresswell were playing better too.
That's the only time before now Antonio's been any good. The rest of the time he's been shocking for us. But anyway, the point is
he's going to be our Premier League record goal scorer if he stays healthy. You realize that, right?
Yeah,
if he stays healthy. If he stays
healthy and if he doesn't leave this summer, he stays next season. It's happening for certain, and it's going to make me very sad. But I think we should sell him in the summer. But that's beside the point.
You sound like Ray now. Don't sell Antonio. He's a legend. You don't.
Ray wanted to sell him now. To be fair, Ray
we wanted to sell him in January. I know that's true.
I think you look at it. We got a better right back. We definitely have a better goalkeeper. I would argue our centre backs right now are better than the ones we had back then. Even though one of them's Ogbonna, but I think Ogbonna now is better than Ogbonna back then.
Sure,
that's true.
I think the place we're notably worse is the sort of three behind the striker, if you want to put it that way, because we had Payet, who obviously no one compares to. We had Lanzini back then, who is better than Lanzini now.
Pre-injury Lanzini,
who was playing on the right? I can't even remember.
I don't know. I can't think of who it was. I mean, it was
some nonsense like Enna Valencia cutting in from the side and shooting. I don't bloody remember who it was, but Victor Moses.
It was like Faguli and that was
Victor Moses. It was
Faguli.
It must have been Moses.
Oh, Victor Moses was there for at least the first half of the season. Yes,
he was. I remember he was. Yeah, because
did he stay? I don't think he stayed with us. So did he?
No, he didn't. He didn't finish the season.
He got
West Brom, I think.
I can't. But the point is I think our team could go to. I think our team now would beat our team back then. because of the system matchup, and I think it just works better.
Because our team now has a better manager.
No, because our team now works in the same way David Moyes isn't as good as the top 4 teams that we've actually done really well against. Yet somehow, we pull off.
So you're saying I think Moyes is a better manager than Bilic ever was, but I think Bilic had a better. I still think Bilic had a better team. I do. I think overall he had a better team.
He had more depth, which is shocking. That
he had more depth, and he had at the top level, he had more talent. If that makes sense.
Dimitri Payet could single-handedly win people games.
Oh, 100%. Payet is just
an actual, no joke, Ballon d'Or candidate, superstar on what was one of the best international teams in the world at that time. Well, still is the French team, obviously. Superstar on the best international team in the world, one of the best. I mean, the guy was beyond anything we've.
Payet is like me versus Adam in hammer shots. It's just not fair. It is what it is. It just happens. I think realistically,
Jetty.
No, I'm just saying. It's like
the only chance you'll have of being successful is if you're in Scotland, and that's only if you can understand what they're saying.
The one chance you could have said Jordan Hugo, and it would have been a burn, and you didn't even take it.
Why do you think? Because who else remembered that guy except for you?
Why do you do this to me?
No, I liked him. I thought we should have kept him actually
last night.
Jordan Hugo. I thought we should have. He didn't make any money. Why not just have him? It's like David Martin. He just hangs around. You give him a few meals. Or a warm place to sleep. He's
exactly.
What's wrong with that?
Clearly spoken like a smart gentleman.
I'm kind of serious. Like we don't have a striker now. We don't have a recognized striker at the club. Well, we did when we had.
No, like I was saying, we sold away all of our depth at spots that we needed it.
Right, a Yeti is another one.
Hugo.
What was wrong with him?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Hugo would have done, I think, really well.
This is and he scored last. Listen. They existed, all right? They existed on low. He was the perfect David Sullivan player. Low wages, didn't complain. I mean, not very good, but they were there. They were bodies. They were warm.
Was Hugo on low wages?
Oh, he had to have been.
Hugo was.
Yeah, he had to have been. I mean,
Hugo was on 35K a week, I think it was.
Oh, that's higher than I thought, but that's still,
Yeah, but for a Premier League striker,
it's not much money.
Yeah, that's like how much you could afford if you wanted to hire me. Again, I'm available. I can edit video. I can Photoshop.
You can't really call Jordan Hugo a Premier League striker. Doesn't that mean you have to actually try and be a striker in a Premier League?
He tried.
Somehow you call yourself a host, and yet here we are. Mistake. But yeah, like I mean, realistically,
in my life that I've had more successful host appearances than Jordan Hugo has had Premier League starts.
You can't bet your life. You've already come back to life.
See, he's playing with house money. That's what it is, Charlie. He can bet his life all he wants. He can bet his life.
Another striker would be the one that we sold off to Celtic. He could have been somebody we could have given a run out this year too.
I genuinely don't understand. I don't understand that at all. He was another person on low wages. It wasn't like we somehow still managed to sell him for half of which we bought him for. And we only bought him for 10 million. And the thing is, I look at him and I think actually you would fit in this system. So why did he go?
He wasn't great. You're not talking about a guy you want to have to start, but you're talking about a guy who exists. He's a warm body. He's a human being who can play striker, who doesn't make that much money. Yeah. Why get rid of him? It doesn't make any sense. It never made any sense.
Yeah, or we would not be having this conversation about striker depth if we just kept those two guys this year, and it just doesn't make sense. Maybe you let one of them go since, you would have at least at the beginning of the season had like Haller, but at the same time, I mean, if you have both of those guys, you're kind of sitting pretty in the sense of depth because, you could do one for the Premier League games, one for the Cup. Or, somebody gets hurt, then you still have a backup or even mess around and put them both up front one time just to feel a little kinky about it. But
nothing makes sense in West Ham world. None of this makes sense. I mean, we don't even get a Jetty if we let Perez go. You know what I mean? Like, why? Perez wasn't
why did we get rid of Perez?
The grass by any means. It's not like he's a fantastic striker, but he's certainly no better or no worse than a Jetty. Why sell one to go and get the other? We have no strategy. We have a terrible fucking culture. We have no overarching theme about why we do anything. Everything that we do is reactionary. And that is why we're constantly going to be having the same discussion week after week.
Which is, John, all that you just said is why I back David Moyes. Not because I think he's a great manager or
I do
technician.
too. I want him to build
I know you
something.
do. I know you do. I know you
to build something.
Yeah, I
Build
know you
it.
do.
I don't
Yeah.
care what it looks like at this point. Just fucking build it.
That's what I'm saying. Look, I don't think he's a brilliant manager. I think his style's a little boring. I feel a lot of the same criticisms that people talk about on here in the chat room, and I get it. But he's making it work. He is putting lipstick on this pig. You know what I mean?
Chicharito, yeah.
He is making chicken salad out of chicken shit at the moment, and he's done it twice for us now. So the least the board can do is throw him a bone, throw him a strike. Go find somebody. Although Ken mentioned earlier he thinks we're going to end up with another Benny McCarthy or Mito. So we might end up with one of them. Actually, I might go get Benny McCarthy's for like 50 now.
Give me Elan. What's Elan doing these days?
Hey, that guy was good.
Yes.
Elon
Remember
was
that
good.
Henry?
And he came from San Etienne too. He was a San Etienne guy, like Piquion, who wasn't as good. But Elon was good, man. I had no problem with him at all. I'd go, yeah, where is he? He's not that old, is he? He's probably like 40 something. Get him on the treadmill. You know what I mean?
Get him in. Bald. Doing bits. Get him in.
David Moyes has already alluded to a number of times the fact that he would rather get one of his players that doesn't play as a striker and just play them as a striker.
Right.
That's what he's doing now.
This is what he does. Like
he did it with Arnautovic. He's doing it with Antonio. Yeah.
He always. I mean, he constantly does that. He takes a player that he likes and then just plays them out of position because he'd rather have someone that he likes, like Fornals, who's throw him anywhere on the field because he runs around and tries hard. He'd rather have those guys than sign someone who might not be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way. He does like stability. He does like guys with experience. Yeah. So we with the way many hours ago when we started the show, Sally and I were talking about West Brom and Burnley, which went well for us. I thought once Antonio scored against Burnley, the match was pretty much over. You score against Burnley, you've won. It's over. Just turn it off and forget about it. I thought we showed some character against West Brom. In a match I think last season we would absolutely have drawn at best, to come back and win and then hold them off a little bit at the end. Anything you guys take out of those two games, and then what do you see happening at Doncaster? I mean, we sat here before Stockport and we said, we're going to run out the under 18s, you know what I mean, and all the spares. Not that we have very many. And then it took Craig Dawson hammering home a header in like the 85th minute for us to sneak out of that one. What do you guys think is going to happen against Doncaster? Who plays? Do we do another strong starting 11? Will Mipo be available? Does he play if he's available? What do you guys think? Whoever wants to start can start. I don't really care. Or nobody.
Well, I think.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Adam.
No.
Well, I think that the
not you, Charlie. No one wants to hear your bloody opinion.
I don't want to hear my opinion. So,
Sally, you start. Sally, go ahead.
Oh, now Sally's throat.
I think we'll see a pretty senior squad for this one. Did I freeze?
For a second there, yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're fine.
Okay. No, I think we'll put out a pretty senior squad. Hopefully Mipo plays. That would be, I think, pretty brilliant, and especially because you don't want to put Antonio out there for 3 games in a week span. So Mipo has to play one of those games, in my opinion. I don't think that there's any scenario to where Moyes feels the need to take out Souček and Rice, or Dawson for that matter, or anybody in the defense. So I think for the most part we'll see a lot of guys that we're used to seeing, especially you get through this match and the 5th round of the FA Cup is when things start to get pretty fun.
Well,
so
it's either Manchester United or Liverpool, right? If we go past Doncaster, it's
Yeah.
Manchester United or Liverpool. So you got to take it seriously.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think you want to lose this game because you know what's going to happen next round if if Doncaster go through, those get obliterated. But you get through the next round, and you never know what could happen. Because we've played a half against both of those teams really well. The Liverpool match was one soft penalty away
we should
from
have had
being
a result in that.
result.
Yeah,
And,
we absolutely should have had a result in that game. Yeah, totally.
yeah, and we should have had more goals against Manchester United. So I think either one of those games you go into pretty confident, but you can't overlook this team. So I think you have to put out a decent squad.
I would really love to see Declan get a rest. I really would. He's played every minute of every match for us for the last couple of seasons now. And I just don't, he's young, he's healthy. I get that, but give him a rest. I would love to see Antonio not play as well, but since we don't have another striker, that's kind of hard to do. Adam, Charlie, John, what do you guys think?
Well, first of all, I think it will be a more comfortable victory. For a few reasons. First of all,
I do too, actually.
We're playing at home, which is a big advantage. It means we've not got to travel. We're playing on a proper pitch.
Yes, that's huge.
Also, you've also got to take into account that Doncaster Rovers, if they win their games in hand, they're top of the league in League One. And for them, as much as the FA Cup is great, and as much, the Stockport players, this is their once in a career game against West Ham United, because they know they're at home. They've got an advantage. It's a crap pitch. They can, they've got a chance. And so, for them, they're playing for their lives. If I'm the manager of Doncaster Rovers and I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, all right, we've got games in hand. There's a lot of fixtures coming up, and we've got a real good chance of winning the league and getting promoted to the Championship. Mm-hmm. If we manage to expend all that energy with our first team against West Ham, we then have to go play Man United or Liverpool. Realistically, we're not going to get very far in the cup, and our focus needs to be the league. So I think that we'll probably, and I don't know Doncaster Rover players, so I can't really tell you, I can't be a real analyst. I can't give you
no, I don't think anybody here does. Yeah.
But the reality is, if I'm Doncaster's manager, I'm probably going to be resting my key players for this game as well, as much as they'll want to play. And so I think that because we're at home and because of that, it also is easier for us to call up some of the younger players and play them, because we're not putting them on a bus, COVID and all of that, taking them up to Stockport. I think that we'll see more players rested in this game. And for us as well, the league, how high we're flying in the league, the last thing we want to do is pick up an injury to one of our key players against Doncaster Rovers. So, I expect it will be a comfortable victory, and I hope that we'll see 3 or 4 changes to the starting lineup that we saw against West Brom.
I do too. Stockport play in the National League, so it's non-league football. It's one step above Chelmsford City. If Tebow's still on, he's a Chelmsford guy. I'm a Chelmsford guy too, just different Chelmsford. But I thought the same thing after the Stockport game, Adam. I thought those guys are going to tell their grandkids about playing in that match. And that one game for Stockport, if they had won that one game, that would have been their FA Cup. You know what I mean? They weren't going any further than that, in all likelihood. That was their one. That was like their Mystery Alaska, Miracle on Ice type game, and they played their hearts out. And I think you're right. Doncaster may have more practical things to think about. What do you think about? What do you think, Juan Antonio? That's you. I'm calling you by your Spanish name,
and I appreciate that. Gracias.
Okay. See.
Yeah, I'm funny in multiple languages. So I hope that we have a lot of changes. I agree with everything that Adam said. It seems to make a lot of sense for them, Doncaster, to not come out all guns blazing. They're pushing for promotion. I'll say the same thing I did last time. I think the one thing that could put us off, or that could not make it as comfortable as possible, is that I think Moyes is going to tinker, and he's going to see what's working and what's not working and try some players out. The most interesting thing for me, at least, that happened during the West Brom game is he switched Bowen over to the left-hand side. So that's obviously something that they're working on, and they've been working on in training and making it giving that a go, seeing how that works, making it a backup plan, seeing if Bowen's going to play down the left. So maybe you see something like that where, the work rate of Bowen can cover for Cresswell defensively. Maybe that's the new Masuaku. Who knows, It's not something that's going to be thrown out in a Premier League game anytime soon, except for the last 20 minutes.
Right.
But
I will admit, I was
like this.
What is Bowen doing over there?
I like it. I like it. It means he's working on stuff. So I think he's going to continue to work on stuff. I think matches like this are going to be places where they can work on stuff. So as much as I want to see Odu Beku, Ben Johnson has to get minutes. Diop, Balbuena have to get minutes. Put Randolph back in. There should be multiple changes. I do think that it's going to be a game where they tinker with a couple of things. I would expect Yarmolenko to start on the right. Maybe Bowen starts on the left. And I still think Lanzini and Benrahma need minutes as well. So they should both feature in that game, regardless of who the opposition is, just to get them time. So I want changes. They're going to have to be the right changes, but we can't do too many things. You can't change the team so much and also change the tactics to see what future systems could work in the Prem and going forward. So, I don't know. It could be a balanced approach, but I expect to see some change at least. And I agree with Adam. I hope that we can get out of there 2-0 minimum. And, just the professionalism that we've shown in the Premier League, have that carry over to the Cup and just get business done and move on.
A couple of goals early wouldn't hurt. You know what I mean? It wouldn't hurt. The treatment of Benrahma has been interesting to me, and I'm glad you brought that up. But Charlie, what do you think about Doncaster? I didn't get to your take on that.
I don't know. I think the last round was really easy for Moyes. I think the last round was such a lower league opposition, and it was an easy selection. You just put out a strong team that puts all your fans on side. It says you're taking the cup seriously. That gets them all happy. At the same time, you pick a strong 11. It says to the owners, I need more depth. I can't be changing these people around. If I want to win a match, I have to play these people.
Right.
I think it was an easy selection for David Moyes. This one's a bit more complicated. As far as I know, I know next to nothing about Doncaster. The only things I know is they have a player called John Jules, who's on loan from Arsenal. That's the only reason I know him.
I don't even know where Doncaster is. I'd have to look it up. Same with Stock.
It's more north than I am, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. Once again, I've never been to the north of England, so means nothing to me. I can't understand a word they say. That's all I know.
Doncaster.
I've been to Doncaster. It's near Leeds.
Okay,
that makes sense. Somewhere I wouldn't bother going. Okay, that makes sense. No, it's the only thing I know about them, and as far as I'm aware,
it's in Yorkshire. It's in Yorkshire. Okay, it's in Yorkshire. So that's one of those accents that's like I'm going to need subtitles. Yeah.
I was about to do I was about to try it, but I'm going to back swiftly out of that one. And and as far as I know, they play sort of counter-attacking football. But I've not watched Doncaster. It's just something I've picked up reading about them recently. My concern with this game is that Doncaster have an exact blueprint what to do, and that's what Stockport did. Come to this game organized. Come to this game with a defense that knows what they're doing. Make it difficult, and we will struggle. We just will. Yorkshire pudding, by the way, very much like the bread bowl of England.
Yes, good. No, I like it. Yeah, I like Yorkshire pudding.
Yorkshire pudding, everything. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's quite nice. Yeah, absolutely.
They have an exact blueprint, and they can very easily just look at that. And as far as I'm aware, from what I've read, they already play similarly to that, which makes it a bit more concerning to me. Realistically, no matter what set of players, unless we put out an entire team of youth players, realistically, they will have the talent to beat Doncaster. But just the same way that Adam was saying that Doncaster are just off third or fourth or however off top they were.
Right.
We're equally having such a good season that I think David Moyes can be tempted to go, I don't want to risk my best players for this match because we've got Crystal Palace on Tuesday, 3 days later, or whatever it is, that I don't feel comfortable putting them out against a Doncaster team who, again, look at Mikel Antonio, one errant challenge, and all of a sudden he's gone for 6 months, and then we're totally screwed.
Then we're screwed. Right, exactly.
So I think it's a bit more difficult. I'm not really super confident, but at the same time, I'm like, we should beat them. We should comfortably beat them. And as long as we do, I'm fine. Cup football, you get the win, you move on. That's all you need. I'm not interested. Like as much as I'm someone who goes on about tactics and styles and all that sort of nonsense. Cup football, don't care. You get your win, you carry on.
Yeah.
It's one game, one win. That's all.
Yeah, the only time you remember a cup tie is if the big team goes down, right?
Yeah.
Or if it's like a final, I mean, and occasionally there's like an Adrian with his penalty against Everton or something like that happens, and it's a dramatic moment. But I mean, generally, like a Stockport, nobody's gonna remember that Stockport game next season or 2 seasons from now because we won. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you just got to get through. The Benrahma thing is interesting to me though, because I feel as though Moyes is publicly. He's been a little bit critical of Benrahma. Everybody loves Benrahma, wants to see more of him, and Moyes is kind of tapping the brakes a little bit. I think he's trying to manage our expectations and also manage Benrahma a little bit too, and try to keep him from reading his own press too much. Do you know what I mean? Keep him grounded, if that makes sense. Do you guys have a take on that, or do you think it's?
This is one where, and I'll get this in early because then everyone can disagree with me and we can all move on with our lives. But this is one where I'll give David Moyes slightly less rope. I think or more rope, I guess is a hanging metaphor, so probably more rope. I don't know. Whichever way is me saying it's bad. I think he's doing with Benrahma what he does with everyone when he first signs them, and that's he doesn't trust them until they earn their time. If they get onto the pitch and they have a really, really good match, then he brings them into the fold more often, and I think he's shown a willingness to sort of change formations and change sort of slightly bits and pieces to more suit that person once they've proved themselves. I think Benrahma's at the stage yet where he hasn't quite proved himself to that level. I think the first couple of games when he came on, he did really well, and I think that was maybe the time to kick on. The last couple of games, I think he's played badly by any stretch of imagination, but he's just not had performances anywhere near the level of Owen when he came in.
Well, he's a little immature too. He makes some bad decisions, but then so does Declan. Now Declan's been great, obviously, but Declan loves he thinks every game he's going to score a 50-yard screamer, which
he really
almost did.
That just, I mean, you did one time, or I guess twice if you count the one for England, but those are not high percentage shots.
Man needs to stop. And I know, again, this is something people disagree with me on. He needs to stop shooting. It's not happening.
Yeah,
like
it's not. I agree. It's not.
I'm actually genuinely shocked he's taking free kicks and they're actually quite good. He's hitting knuckleballs in there. His crosses are decent. People just aren't getting on the end of it. But his shots, fam, just stop. Pass the ball to someone who can shoot, please. It's frustrating me. Like, I love you, but you're better at other things. Just stop.
I feel the same way. You're so talented.
You need to sing a song or Adam to host a show. Wait,
he never stops. Be a facilitator. Yeah, I agree. So, John, Adam, Sally, what do you guys think about the Benrahma saga?
Moyes is spot on. What's he saying that isn't true about Benrahma?
Well, nothing.
He needs to move quicker. He needs to act quicker. His decision making needs to be quicker. He needs to be less selfish. He's got to move the ball and be decisive. He's completely correct. He's not saying that he's not playing well. He's playing all right. He's making the transition. He's going to need a bit more time. But the things Moyes is saying about Benrahma is spot on. And I think it's fine.
I think he's doing it, I mean, don't you think he's doing it he's telling us and he's telling him at the same time?
He's absolutely managing fans' expectations because the fans just want everything all at once. And that's just the way we are. We want Benrahma to be in. We want him to play. He's got a big pound sign next to his name when we do sign him on a full at the end of this season. It comes with a big reputation from what he did in the Championship, but doing that in the Championship is a different level than the Premier League. And he's doing what he did with Bowen. He's going to ease him into the team, and he does. He does need to make better decisions. He needs to make quicker decisions, and he's going to be a good player. He will. You can see he's got all the tools.
I think he will too.
In the locker. He's got it.
But you already see. Twitter is the most evil, infested place on earth, obviously, which is why I'm there so often. Yeah. But you already see the seeping through of a little like Benrahma's a disappointment. Benrahma, you know what I mean? You see this seeping through, and I think Moyes is trying to cut that off too. So
that's some of it. That's definitely so. Benrahma's a good lad. Anybody who brings their mum to their signing is a decent fella. You know what I mean? Like, we've got a good one there. He's all right. He just needs a bit of time. He needs to be handled. And I think that's what Moyes is doing him. And
I think so.
All these conversations that are happening in public, you guarantee he's saying a lot more in private. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to go out there and slate Benrahma, and that's the way he's hearing about these things. He's just being honest. Everything he's saying publicly is for us. It's not for Benrahma. He gets all that feedback in Chadwell Heath. He gets that feedback after matches. He gets it on film and on tape and saying, here's what you should be doing. Here's what you're not doing well enough. Here's what you can do better. Here's where you did great. They get that feedback relentlessly. So everything he's saying publicly, it's not for the player. It is for us, 100%. Because we are so overboard.
He catches him on the way to the outhouse behind the trailer park at the training ground. You know what I mean? Catches, when they're pumping water out of the well and so churning the butter and all that, he catches him there.
I'll say this as well, just very quickly. We need to back the good lad thing even more. Do you remember when the whole contract situation, why it took so long because Brentford had to pay him a certain amount of money, whatever, and then when they did, he donated it to the actual people who work at Brentford as well.
Yes,
good lad, solid
work.
Like, it's the sort of stuff you want to see. But also, I don't know if David, dealing with a player like that is great, but only specifically if that player is the right character for that to happen. And my only doubts around that, because I agree with you, I think we tend to think about footballers only hearing what we're hearing, whereas we hear one sentence at the end of a game. The footballers are with them 7 days a week at the training ground. They're going to hear way more. But what I would say is the one thing that gives me pause for thought with that is when I look at the way the last 2 times he's been subbed off, he's had a really disappointed look on his face. And it's and obviously you're going to be disappointed you're being subbed off, but it really looks to him. I don't know if I'm reading too far into it, I'm really concerned about how that's thing, because it's not like we have an option here. We can't sell Benrahma. We can't not sign him. It's happening. In the summer, we are spending £25 million to bring this person in. And I don't want to see another situation where a player's confidence is completely shot to bits and they never regain those performances when he is going to be here in the long term, just like David Moyes is. I feel like they both, I don't know who, in my mind, I would say David Moyes, but they both need to figure it out because they are going to be here next season together, no matter what happens. And that's my concern.
But are they? I mean, because let's be honest, with our board, you really can't bank on anything. If they decide they don't like Benrahma, you're telling me they won't find some dodgy bullshit loophole in a contract? Because if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be our board.
Mm-hmm.
If he turns around and says, you know what? Because my take on Benrahma, I want to like Benrahma. That is my take. And I don't think I've ever felt like this about any West Ham player in my entire life. I don't like to criticize people. I like to get that money. And I really do want to like Benrahma, and I want him to do well. But deep down, I just don't know if he's a Premier League football player.
You don't think so?
I just don't know. I want him to be, but I don't know if he's actually got what it takes to get back and defend when he needs to defend.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
You have to work a little bit harder and you have to work a little bit more intelligently in the Premier League because you're up against world-class players every single week. And like I said, I really do want him to succeed, but I just don't know if he's going to make it. And like I say, like you said, Charlie, I agree with you. Normally it's if we do definitely have to sign him, then Charlie is, unfortunately, totally right. We really do need to back him. But, like I just said, with our board, if there's a way to get out of something that they don't want to do, they will find a way. They'll say to Brentford, I tell you what, we don't really want him. How about we just pay you this much money and you can have him back? And they'll probably say, oh, well, he's not happy there. He was happy at Brentford. We really want him back. I'm sure we can come to an arrangement.
What I would say
before Sally jumps in, and I'm sorry, Sally, I don't want to take your spot, but just to loop it back to something else, right? So how do you bring academy youth through in a system that could work exactly like what you just said, Adam? When you've got to go out and you've spent theoretically 25 to 35 million pounds on somebody that you don't even know is going to work, and you have to play them because you've spent that money. How are we supposed to start starting academy players ahead of people that we've just gone and bought for 30 million quid.
I'm going to. This is actually. I've got a good answer to that, and this is exactly why Ben Rama pisses me off so much, because we literally had that in Grady Diangana.
Yep.
We literally had the academy player that I feel is just got just as much potential as Ben Rama, and instead of siding with an academy player who actually gives a shit about West Ham United, wants to play for West Ham, loves West Ham, we sell him and bring in a mercenary who might also not be good enough. I mean,
and for more money, Adam. Don't forget, for more money.
Yeah,
we
for
sold,
spot.
we sold Grady, and then we spent more on Diangana. But
if you're Nathan Holland right now,
right, it pulls
what
the rug out
are
from
you
under the academy.
thinking?
It pulls the rug out from under the academy, right? That's what it does. It destabilizes the whole thing. Sully, what do you think? You've been
Yeah, no, I mean that's kind of what I was saying earlier. With the it's hard to break into a team if you're an academy player when there's so much pressure on that team to sign people every transfer window. I mean, I think if there was a method to the madness in a sense of like, okay, well, we have Nathan Holland and Josh Cullen who we want to start giving some first team minutes, some first team reps, stuff like that. If you let that be known, one, it gives the academy some boost. Like, okay, so there is a chance I can make this team. And then two, it tells the fans like, hey, so we might not be going after these positions in the window because we're going to try these guys out. And at least for, let's just say like a summer window, you say that going into it. And if it's not working out by January, then you do that and vice versa. You can go offer somebody. But, yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense, especially the Diangana thing is like, why would you get rid of somebody who, to your point, Adam, somebody who cares about the club and who's been here just to go and spend more money on somebody you're not sure about? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, he started when he was something like 9 years old, Diangana.
Yeah, no, exactly. And, I think another thing with that too is, kind of, well, I don't know, it might not be the best of points because I don't think they were able to prove it, but it's one of the things that we were saying earlier, right? Let's say Diangana was a world beater for us for like 2 seasons. You go out and sell him for like 60 million pounds. That's a 60 million pound profit you just made on somebody.
Yep.
Granted, if we had a world beater on our team, I'm sure we would hate to see him leave, but we have that now.
But we've done.
I don't think anybody's expecting Declan Rice to finish his career. Yeah, I don't think anybody's expecting Declan Rice to finish his career as a West Ham player.
No.
But at the same time, that's football too. You have somebody who's, I mean, Diop was almost only here just for a season, and he was a 60 million pound player. Lanzini is that same person. Now, I know they didn't come to the academy, but they were somebody that, played really well and had, the world's eye on him, because West Ham is a big club that plays in a big city. So people are going to scout us, from all over the world. But I will say that I think that is part of that, two-sided coin from earlier, is it a case that the academy players just aren't good enough is why they're not being into the team? Or is the board like, oh, well, let's just sign somebody so the fans can shut up and then we'll just go ahead and sell them when we really shouldn't and then still not bring somebody up in the academy? It's
right, which is so weird because the fans want to see the kids play.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, when Ben Johnson started last year against Manchester City, everybody was like, okay, well, we know who he is, but is this the right time to start him? Kid went out there and had a hell of a game, and the same thing with Ngakia. Ngakia started against Liverpool, had a hell of a game.
Yeah.
And I felt like by the end of last season, you're like, these are potentially our 2 starting right and left backs moving into the future. Well, congratulations. You didn't give one enough playing time, I guess, and he felt entitled and was like, I'm going to go play in the championship. Whatever that means. But, I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things to where it doesn't make sense up top. The people that can make the decisions, they just don't know what they're doing, and it's not even like it's not hard to see. So I think a lot of it too has to go into the fact that, the board's like, oh, well, we can make £5 million off a player we bought for £10 million. That's cool. We'll do that. Even though we need strikers, but we'll go ahead and sell them.
Do you think so?
This is an incredible.
If
Metaphor
you start
that-
bringing Orwell in, I mean, that's just fantastic.
I know,
Well done.
Brilliant.
I mean,
But I'll tell you what,
to
Billy,
speak very quickly though to Adam's point and to John's point. The first one to John's is like the reason we've got him on loan is because our board are too cheap to actually pay the money. We were going to pay the money, but then the second they saw an opportunity to go, actually, we'll pay for him a bit. They went sweet, and then there we go,
right.
businessmen. We do business, guys, and it's like
Brady's a baroness, whatever that means.
yeah. I mean, but we only have one left winger at the club, really, and it's Ben Rama, out and out born left winger. Everyone else, like Fornals, is playing there because of necessity.
Right.
Lanzini
He's
gets put there because of necessity. Bowen's now moved there because of necessity.
Right.
But
All
it's not like we actually have the people. Nathan Holland, if you're talking about people who are actually like registered left wingers or whatever you want to put it as, he's second choice. It's just we play so many people ahead of him because we like the cut of their jib or whatever when it comes to Fornals out there, that it just works, right? To speak to Adam's point, when it comes to like what the board are going to do, and this is kind of the bigger problem, Ben Rama was bought by the board. He wasn't David Moyes' choice.
No, Moyes
and this is a
wanted
bigger
to
problem
Grady.
we need to get over.
Yeah.
David Moyes wanted
Grady.
Eze, then he wanted Tarkowski, he wanted to keep Grady, and then we ended up getting Ben Rama, who he didn't even want. He wanted Josh King at the end. And unfortunately, you have to look at it and you say sometimes it's just the way the cookie crumbles. This is the way the board works. This is the way everything goes on in this club, and it's a consistent problem. It's frustrating to look at. I don't know. It's frustrating. It's mad.
He wanted Ollie
It's
Watkins
mad.
as well, didn't he?
Ollie Walker, probably the list goes on.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. Yeah.
The list. I've never known. I can't name another club in the Premier League who consistently do not get the manager's first, second, or third choice players every single window without fail.
Again,
We do it
why
all the time. Wild.
And I know the Moyes out crowd is much quieter now than like after we drew with Brighton. So it's really not as much of an issue as it was a few weeks ago. But this is again another reason I back Moyes is he'll put up with that crap. You know, you think of. I always love that when West Ham, when we replace a manager, we always have like, you know, oh, let's go get Pochettino. Oh, let's go get, you know, what was the guy's name from Bayern? I don't know. They throw all these names out of the world's great managers. I'm like, they're not coming here
Listen,
to deal with these people. Come on.
Moyes has done something very astute here that I don't think has been picked up by any of the supporters. By saying that, I don't want to go out and buy anybody if it doesn't suit my system.
Right.
And nobody's talking about it in this way. So let me just put it this way. That means that if anybody comes in necessarily that isn't a striker, that isn't potentially left back, isn't a centre midfielder that we need in the areas of cover, you know, that is him telling the world, this is the board doing this. This has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because you heard Sam Allardyce's claims about, oh, I showed up on the training pitch one day and Mauro Zarate was there as a gift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is Moyes communicating directly to the fans in a very sly way, saying, listen, this shit happens at this club and I have no fucking control about it. We all know that. We all know that. We all know it. We take it for granted because we support West Ham. We've seen it happen. But I think he's given us a little bit of a message on this one. Like, I have very set targets of who I want to go and get and where I want to go and get them. And don't come knocking at my door if it all goes wrong because they've just gone out and David Sullivan feels like playing fucking Football Manager again, like he has.
Right. Which is what he does. Which is what he does. Don't do this. You'll be in the emergency room with alcohol poisoning or something. If you do that, yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Just as a health warning, you know, with the COVID and all that, you just want to stay off of the I don't. It's not that I love him. It's just that I appreciate him, and I appreciate what he's doing for us right now. You know, I don't love him. You know who I kind of loved? I loved Gianfranco Zola a little bit when he was our manager. Played proper football. The players loved him. The board didn't back him. Again, the board didn't back him, and he also wasn't really that great a manager. But I like the football that he played. All right, so Kieran, where's Kieran? It's about time to start wrapping up here, Kieran. Who says Moyes out? Come on, man.
Come on, Kieran, let's go. It's the late nights. It drives us wild. Let's go.
So by the time we're back here next week, all right, we will have had Doncaster in the cup. We will have had Crystal Palace. I've said this before. I've never met a Crystal Palace fan in person, but these people online are insufferable to me for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's just they get under your fingernails. You know what I mean? They get on my tits, as you'd say there in England. And they're not like Tottenham, or it's just they like, you know what they're like? Little dogs. You know, the little tiny little dogs that nip at your heels and at your ankles when you come into somebody's house. You know what I mean? And you can't do anything with them. You know what I mean? It's like you can't get away from them. You can't pet them. They're just all over you all the time. That's what they remind me of. Just little nippy dogs. You know. So, but we could never beat Crystal Palace for some reason. Lost to them twice last season, and we drew with them earlier. So I know it's a ways off, almost a week away. But let me get you guys' feelings before we go on what's going to happen with Palace. Can you give me a score prediction and a feel that you have for the game? And whoever wants to start can start. And tell me if I'm right about Crystal Palace fans. By the way, you guys.
Well, I mean, really, I know a couple. And they're very nice people, to be honest. They're quite realistic, but I think it's like, wow, that's a wild statement. People brings out the worst in people. Online discourse and online fans bring out the worst in people. Do you know what I mean? People can be completely different online than they are in real life. I've spoken to people.
Of course they can, except that I'm exactly the same, but everybody else can be, yes, very different. Yes, that's true.
Me and Adam literally had this conversation earlier today. Like, it's just true. It's like people have like personas on. I know a couple of Crystal Palace fans. They're nice people, and they're quite realistic. They look at what Hodgson's doing. They look at that team, and they think, do you know what? It's a comfortable team. It's a functional team. It's not very exciting. It's a bit, to be honest with you, they're a bit like us, but a little bit less exciting. And that's saying a lot because I don't think we're very exciting. I think you look at it and you say, well, they've got a lot of functional players. He's been there for a while. He's built a Roy Hodgson team. They can look at Zaha and Eze and think, oh, there's a bit of excitement there. But realistically, you've got to call a spade. You've got to call a spade a spade.
Right.
You can't sit there and think they're going to come at us and do all these things. They're going to set up in the way that frustrates us. They're going to set up in a way that does the exact same way everyone does.
And it works. And it works for them. It works for them.
And it works. It works. They're not. I don't. Just realistically, it's going to be a struggle because they're going to be.
We've broken Charlie. He's just going to run out. He's just run out.
Because here's one thing that's always guaranteed against Palace. There's always a spectacular. I mean, every single time there's a bike. If my grandmother had wheels, it'd be a bike. I mean, like literally anyone could score a bike against Crystal Palace. It's what that we do. It's guaranteed stuff.
Oh, that's right. That was Carroll. Carroll's goal was against them too.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Literally, Palace equals a stunner. So.
Well, hopefully that stunner can get us a win because we haven't beaten Crystal Palace in the league for like 2 years now, which is really unfortunate. But I think with the confidence that we're playing right now and the kind of football we're playing, even if we squeak out a 1-0 victory, I think as annoying as that'll be to sit through, however long we're sitting on a goal.
Yeah.
I think regardless of what it is even if we go down, that I won't feel necessarily nervous that we won't be able to equalize and probably get back ahead. And I think that's a lot to say too for Moyes and what he's done so far with this team.
We've done it all season, right? We've done it all season.
Yeah. And I mean, and to the point of what was said earlier, we are beating the teams around us. And, the nice part about it is that Crystal Palace is still below us, and the only thing that won't suck about if we do lose is we can't fall any worse than what we are if we do lose. So I mean that's nice, take that for what it's worth. But at the same time, I think that the team, the team look at the table, I don't know how much they talk about, I have no idea, but that there's going to be sitting like, man, we can be in, 4th, 5th place at the end of this thing. Obviously pending results, we might not stay there, but
they sound confident too. Like there's little chirps of confidence coming out in the press.
And I think honestly, ever since the Leicester game, the team has been playing for each other. You know, and I think well, not even just the Leicester game, the beginning of the season. I know the Newcastle match wasn't that great, but I think, you know, there was just so much frustration focused in the wrong area, you know, because of the transfer.
Sorry.
But I think the team was just they're definitely playing for each other, and I think it's quite obvious, and I think it helps with, you know, the form and the not really willing to die if something happens, you know, if something negative happens. So I think hopefully we get a good result. I'll say 2-1 just to say something out there, but
It's reasonable.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's reasonable. I'm with you. I'm with you.
This is what I was trying to get out of my head, right? And it's the sense of when you look at, I think the difference between us where we are now and the difference between us being able to challenge for Europe and stuff like that is looking at teams who set up like Crystal Palace and being able to break them down with confidence. Because what happens all too often against teams who sit deep for me when I watch West Ham at the moment is we're still continuously trying the one thing. We're playing the ball out to trying to get the ball long to Kufal or to Antonio to try and cross it in or play it over the top to Antonio. And if teams are sitting so deep, it doesn't work. What I want to see us is, you know, sit there and calm down a little bit, sit there and just play it a bit nicer on the floor and just have a little bit more to our game as opposed to that one thing, which we do very well. Don't get Tim started. He's not here. We don't need to talk about Tompkins.
He's not watching. If he's watching, he's going to come on. You know,
he's not here. We don't need to talk about him yet.
He busts in with his like cigarette and he's outside of the cold smoke and he's like,
dreaming days gone past, you know, days when, I don't know, Peggy Mitchell still ran the Queen Vic. I don't know. Look, you have to sit down. You have to ask yourself, what would Peggy Mitchell do? Okay, and the realistic answer is this: she'd sit down, she'd put Purple Rain on, she'd have a little chill, and then we can do some nice passing. That's all we need to do is stay calm in that situation. Let's listen to a bit of Prince. Let's not go wild. It doesn't always have to be heavy metal football. It doesn't always have to be flipping Rammstein going wild. You know what I mean? We just need to look at it and say, if they're sitting steep, and this is where you want to see Ben Rama come into his own, someone who can have that ability to unlock a bit of space where there wasn't someone before and find the pass. We've got those players, and the thing I like about Moyes recently is, and it's something me and you, John, spoke about before as well, and actually we probably spoke about on this show. I just remember John specifically telling me, and it's like haunted my dreams ever since. But like the idea of like, he's shown the ability to change a little bit. We're playing the 4 at the back. We're doing something a little bit differently. We've got those creative players on the pitch, but just Purple Rain, do you know what? Chill it a little bit. Chill it, little nice pass here and there. I think we're good. I think we'd be Gucci, but it's just I don't see us doing it that often yet. That's what brings me a bit of concern about that.
So
if we're lobbing score out there,
I think the question was, what do you think the score would be?
I understood very little of what Charlie just said. Most of that was just sort of was like pops and buzzes for, you know, but thank you for your input.
Thank you for that crap.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you.
Thank you for your 2 cents, Charlie. It was worth every penny. That's you know.
That's all. Listen, it's been said before. It'll be said again. 2 cents. That's the worth we're talking here. Again, if you want to give me 2 cents to do any work, I will do it. I will do it. But 1-1. 1-1.
1-1. Okay. I
think it's going to be 3-1.
Who's going to win?
To us, obviously.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's not obvious. Not to me.
Come on.
Okay, so you think 3-1. Who scores? This is ridiculous to even get into this, but who scores?
Oh, it's not. It's a great prediction.
That's true.
Bowen, Antonio.
I would love that. If only so we get to see a new Antonio celebration unveiled. And by the way, he did not say that the swimming celebration was a tribute to the divers in the Premier League. You guys have seen this going around.
Yeah.
He didn't say that.
Funny meme, though. I mean, I appreciate.
No, it's a great meme, but he didn't actually say that. So cut him a break. It was a great celebration. John, what do you think? Are you still awake? Are you still there with us?
No, I'm here, Lee. I'm holding all the hatred I have for Crystal Palace inside because it's really.
Tell me about
the hate flows through you, John.
It's more than it needs to be. Like I don't hate him so much, but I hate him enough And I hate them enough because I just don't like their coordinated fanship and fake atmosphere, happy clappy bullshit
And they play
football
that
fan.
song, what is it, Glad All Over? They play that song
I
before every match.
fucking hate that, Lee. It
That's
grates me
garbage.
so much inside.
Pop.
To be a real football club, you need economic depravity in your fan base and a certain amount of self-loathing that you fucking hate your own team. That's what West Ham is.
That's true.
I
You do
hate
your
Crystal
own
Palace.
team.
They have none of that. They have absolutely none of it, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just a part of London they're from. They're doing all right. It's a bit middle classy.
They've got Vikings as well, right?
They're like a Southern hockey team. They're
I mean, they were named after a place that held the World Fair. You know what I mean? Like, they're doing all right. They're doing all right. It's just
like the Carolina Hurricanes.
There's no history. There's no soul to that football club. It's just a bunch of people showing up with the happy clappy bullshit.
And they ruined my day. They ruined my day when my 10-year-old son was playing travel football last season, and we took him all the way down to Somerville, which is a little bit of a hike from where I live, and they won 5-0, and my son's team was great, and he had an assist, and they played really well. And then I'm like looking at the game on my phone, and of course that's when Zaha scores to beat us right in injury time. So they ruined my whole day that day. So I resent them for that.
Well, one thing I was telling Leah before we got on the show is, Crystal Palace is like the little brother of London, to where they know that they can be annoying and they don't care because nothing's going to happen to them besides, just cut that out kind of stuff. But I think it's more specific.
Cut it out.
I think it's more specific to West Ham because, they have a former manager of ours and they have 2 former players of ours. And, whenever there's any serious conversation of us being linked with any player,
yes,
they get linked with that player out of the blue, for no reason other than just to piss off West Ham fans.
It's so predictable. Every time we're linked with the player. Oh, but also linked with Crystal Palace. I mean, of course, they have to jump in.
Yeah.
All right, so I am not totally off on my evaluation of these Palace people. Then it sounds pretty. They're like Carolina Hurricanes fans. They're Southern hockey fans. They're boosterish. They don't really know the game or love the game. They just like yay for the team, pom poms. Yeah, I don't like that. I like bitterness and anger in my fans.
All of the Palace fans I know in person are very nice people. I would like to say that now in case any of them see this. This is all of their opinions, not mine. Please, it wasn't me.
And for the second time tonight, and the only other time tonight, I also would agree with Charlie. My friends that are Crystal Palace fans are actually also quite nice people, and also have a little bit of bitterness in them as well. So maybe maybe I haven't met the right Crystal Palace fans.
You could be right. You could be right. Just listen. If you're gonna go and have an ultras section that has to call themselves ultras, they're probably not ultras.
That is very true. Hey guys, we're the hooligans. It's like American hooligans, right? You go to MLS games, you've seen this stuff before. It's like these, like the Revolution. They have this group. They sit out behind the goal. They do all the songs. They act all tough.
Listen, I give him a bad rap. I'll tell you what. I think Simon Jordan himself is actually one of the more interesting people to listen to on TalkSport. So I will give him that. They're all right. Are they going to sell Zaha? Are they not? I mean, it's the story that's going on as long as fucking time at this point.
He's not
he'll be on the deck. He'll be on the deck whining about something for 2/3 of the match. And honestly, I think Soufal does a job on him. I really do. I think it keeps him quiet.
Yeah.
And 2-1 West Ham. Why not?
All right. I like that. After Sully, you muted yourself.
I was going to say a Declan screamer just because we all said how much that's annoying.
Yes, that has to happen, doesn't it?
I'm going to be honest. I actually do shout at the TV. I actually, every time he's there, 30 yards out, I'm the one. I'm like, shoo! Sorry. I'm sorry.
I do that listen, because I coach 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds, okay? I yell shoot anytime the ball is within 30 feet of one of them. Yeah. So this, I find myself doing this when I watch the Premier League or any football. I watch the Mexican games late at night. I like to watch those. They come out at like 10:30 at night. The boys are in bed. It's a comfortable time to watch, Watching like Leon versus Atlas or something, and once they cross the center, then I'm like, shoot. So I'm bad about that too.
Yeah, I think he's allowed one a game. As far as I'm concerned, he gets one a game.
Yeah, he's been doing like 3 lately, but yeah.
Yeah, and
that's
I'm
the problem. Yeah,
I'm like, you know what, Deck, you are world class, and so one a game. Okay, you've earned one a game,
right,
but
right,
let's leave it at that.
right.
Hey, shooter, shoot. And I mean, if he's given that much space to give it a rip, I guess I can't be too mad. The only time I was really mad about it was the second time he did it, which he almost scored on this past game, is because I felt like it kind of killed the attack. But no, I mean,
yeah.
I feel like if he gets more of those on target, if it's not going in, there's a juicy rebound coming out of it because no keeper is just going to hold on to one of those bad boys.
That's true. I mean, which is one of that's why I always tell my kids to shoot, because the kids can't do anything. Ball bounces off of them in every which direction.
Take advantage of them children.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just like shoot. But that was kind of like the Souček Everton goal, right? I mean, that was a little bit of a ping pong pinball thing that happened. You could get one of those where Deck lets one of those lasers go, and it comes off a post, or it comes off a keeper, comes off a defender, and
Frank Lampard made himself a legend by doing that. The Lampard special, he literally got a deflected goal. Like half his goals are deflections.
Right. But the problem with Deck is he sometimes has the old Antonio syndrome, where it's
Antonio had that syndrome this game too.
Antonio had oh yes, he did. He had an old fashioned one of them let it in my backyard. One of them knocked a satellite down in the West Ham Clips footage. But anyway, all right. There are still. Can you believe there are 26 people watching this live? Can you believe that? This is amazing. We've gone for 2 hours and 19 minutes, and we have like the same number now as we did like an hour ago. So, and that's because now wait a minute.
I think it probably took us an hour to get to talking to football. We had some quality bogey conversation.
Now that's either because of Adam Frankel or Charlie Walsh. But I'm
not. No. Charlie Walsh is always on your show. This is the first time I've ever been on.
Is it really? Is it really?
Yeah. And I had to ask you to get on because you've never bloody asked me.
You can always come on.
Message you.
Wait. Adam, are you? Wait a minute. Don't tell me that. Don't give me that. Okay. Are you on the official use only American Hammers TV Facebook group? Are you part of that?
No.
Are you serious? You're not?
Yeah, I don't know. No idea what that is.
Okay, I every Wednesday morning or sometimes afternoon, depending on when I bother to wake up. Every Wednesday, I ask who's going to be on the show on Wednesday night, and then I put the link on the official use only American Hammers Network Facebook group. I thought you were on that, so it would make sense.
Hey, it's okay. I prefer it.
Not either. I invited Charlie. Well, what happened tonight was, John was a maybe, and Irish Tommy couldn't make it, and Charlie Boy is too loud to be on YouTube. So Selly, of course, is here. Selly and I are always here, and I would do the show just with Selly because we'd have a great time just the two of us in the chat room. But I invited Charlie via Twitter because I was like, we need some numbers, and then of course John was here, and then you jumped in because of Charlie. So, but I thought you were on that. I thought you were on that chat. I didn't know. I thought I was inviting you to every show.
Oh, well.
But you never got any of the invites.
No.
Okay. Well, I know. Listen, I apologize. I did not know that.
Oh, no. Please don't apologize. Please.
I did not. And you, who live in not that far from my beloved hometown. Well, not really beloved, but don't you live up north of Dallas, McKinney or someplace like that?
Frisco.
McKinney? Frisco. That's way up there. My cousin,
home of FC Dallas. So
yes. My cousin lives up there now. My cousin and his wife and several of their kids. I can't keep track how many kids they have.
If this conversation doesn't make that number of viewers go down, I don't know what will.
Down by two. Yeah, no, I grew up like way south, like probably 2 hours south of there, so south of Dallas. But anyway, I thought Adam. So this is Adam's first time on the show, so it's obvious that he is the draw. But I think it's the Adam Charlie play. I think it's the Adam Charlie
Charlie.
Well, the last time you two were on a show together, Adam died that night. So Adam,
Yeah, Adam, why don't you could you just text us like in an hour? Just to,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
the body system, please.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. He's gonna die next week after I absolutely destroy him on hammer shots. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
And this is true. We did ask everybody to stay, but I would do the Selly. We always do the show together, right? You know, if we're both available. I would do the show just with Selly. We'd have a good time. But we're always happy when everybody shows up. Everybody else shows up too.
Maybe it's actually Rebecca keeping everyone here by flirting with every single other person in the chat.
Rebecca and Katie, when they did their show, it was the most watched show on American Hammers TV.
Still holds the record.
And it wasn't even close, by the way. I mean, episode for episode, they like doubled the audience of anybody else.
Are you surprised?
Of course not.
Compare the looks of that show to the looks of.
Listen, it's not. But I'm going to say this. It's not just the looks. Okay, they know their football. They're smart. They're good hosts.
I didn't actually listen to what was being said, so I couldn't tell you. I put it on mute. I watched it on mute.
I was going to put it on mute. Don't tell us.
I'm only joking. I love you.
Don't tell us what happened after that. Don't tell us what happened after that. It's like the night Ray showed up in his bathrobe on Wednesday night when Ray was just like hanging out at the Playboy Mansion. He just shows up.
Embarrassed now. I feel like a tomato in the sun. I'm like going all red.
Ray shows up in his bathrobe with like an ascot and a snifter of brandy. Little Courvoisier.
Franco, you didn't do a Tom thing where he started saying that Bex just talks about women's things. So
we didn't color.
You're in the clear.
Don't get flashed.
We didn't color easy this time. So that at least there's that. And Katie's going to do her thing tomorrow night, right? I think so. John, is there a Friday Night Lights this week?
I don't know.
I like your commitment to professionalism and commitment to the cause.
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
Maybe we had a cancellation last week, so we got to see if they're able to do it this week. I'll check in with Tim, and everybody will find out on Friday. We'll see.
Charlie boy, my ex-wife was half Irish, half Italian from Boston, so there's a lot they ain't having. Let me tell you. But yeah, they're late night loudness.
Fire and the ice.
Half Italian, half Irish from Boston is a super volatile mix, just so you know. But she actually lives in France now with her her husband is from Bradford. So you English guys will know what I'm talking about. Right? Her new husband's from Bradford. So every time she goes to see his family, she has to go to Bradford.
No, it's a big L. It's a big L. You know,
and I'm like, well, that's too bad. Do you think she used to complain about going to Dallas to see my parents? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sure Bradford's way better. You know.
Yeah, that's an L.
Yeah, you got
Bradford anytime. Just going through it on the train, it's a sad time. Stopping there is even worse.
That's what I'm saying. So anyway, that's I think we all know who got the best of the deal there. Plus, I wanted to show you that I now know where Doncaster is, even though the game's at London Stadium, right? So it's not even in. Yeah, but except there it is. There we go.
Google Maps, the real wrap up is starting.
Doncaster was not far from Mexborough, Mexborough sounds like a Mexican Irish pub. You know what I mean? Like an Irish pub where you could also get like Corona, not the virus, but the beer, or maybe Dos Equis. You know, well, you could also get the virus. And there's Sheffield and Rotherham and all sorts of. I love the names of English towns. They're always.
I love listening to Americans attempt to say the name of English towns.
I mean, what is this? Wombwell? Is that what it is? Is that what it's called? I don't know. Do you know?
I didn't even know that place exists. Wombwell.
Look, there's Tick Hill. These are great. Anyway, that's where Doncaster is. So the good people of Doncaster, we wish you we offer you sporting greetings.
Lee, do you know how to pronounce the place? But sporting greetings. There's shout out to Doncaster as a city sports team. You know, it's all bang. Lee, do you know how to pronounce the place in the southwest that's spelled Frome?
No, of course not. Well, I'd say Frome, like Squeaky Frome, who tried to shoot Gerald Ford, right?
First of all, great factoid there. Love that.
Yeah.
It's the one that always tests. I always like it's the one that everyone gets wrong, and I was just interested. Sally, do you know what to say?
She had two M's in her
From
close.
How do you pronounce it?
Froome.
Okay.
Froome, because our language is stupid. You gotta
Just
love
say
it.
you British folks invent the language, but y'all
I gotta
don't.
tell you though, man.
Charlie, are you a Shrewsbury or Shrewsbury man?
Shrewsbury.
We have
Oh,
the
here's one for the Southwest that John might appreciate, actually. How do you say the place where the massive music festival is held in the Southwest every year?
Massive music. Which one?
The biggest music festival.
Glastonbury?
Yes.
Oh, Glastonbury.
See, this is the thing that so my family are from around there, but I say Glastonbury and I get rinsed for it.
So you
Relentlessly.
You pronounce the T.
Yeah, as you
You're
should.
wrong.
Glastonbury.
No,
Glastonbury.
the A goes up. Glastonbury.
When I say Glastonbury, I feel like I'm from the north all of a sudden. Glastonbury.
Glastonbury. Do you
Okay,
go to
there's
Bath or do you go to
control.
Bath?
Now she tried to kill Gerald Ford, and I think she was a member of the Manson gang as well. So, but she had two M's in her name, so she wasn't Froome. She was Fromm. Lynette Squeaky Fromm. There she is.
Fucking A.
Well, I
Just
mean,
like the quarterback for Georgia a couple years ago.
She looks like the fucking Handmaid's Tale.
That's what happens when Little Red
Listen, I
Riding
mean,
Hood takes
listen,
drugs.
listen. If it was, late enough and dark enough, and your dad enough to drink, I don't know. Of course, this picture was taken probably 40 years ago, so maybe 50 years ago. So I don't know. I don't know what she looks like. She may be dead. Who knows?
Do you get this kind of content on any other West Ham YouTube channel? I'm saying no.
No, this is Patreon-esque.
Some people would Some people would say here this should be on a Patreon. Some people would say this is why Hamish Chat's better. I would disagree with those people. If anything, my goal in life is to bring this content to the masses. Anyone who wants it.
Hammers Chat. Do you really not have references to 70s would-be assassins?
Oh, look at Vern is just throwing out Bista in the comments, just throwing it out there.
Loving it.
Okay,
Loving it.
but we have New England. We have Leicester, like you have Leicester in England, but we have like Waltham is one of my favorites. So it's Waltham. So you'd think it'd be Waltham, but it's Waltham. You pronounce the ham at the end, Waltham. So
Our country's just weird and stupid, is what I would say. You know.
well, we took all your names and reappropriated them. Here in New England, not the rest of the.
You just put new in front of it and it worked out well for you. Do you know what I mean?
Sometimes we didn't even put new. There's a lot of them that
Did
aren't
it
new at
work
all.
out well?
It
I
worked
mean,
out okay. It's fine.
I would rather go to New York than I would York.
Oh yeah. Well, I've never been to New York, but I love New York.
No. Whoa. York is one of the most beautiful towns in the whole of England.
Overrated.
I love the expression "the whole of England." I always think of it as like
All 8 hours of it.
yeah, I was going to say the whole of England. It's so tiny. That's what's so funny is people talk about up and down the country, and I'm like, up and down the country. England's like, you could drive from Southampton to the Hebrides or something in like 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
It would take you
Add
longer
it
to
to
drive
the
from
next- you
San
know what I'm talking
Francisco
about.
to San Diego than it would for you to drive through the entire country of England.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
talking
that's why we're so well traveled.
Well, that makes
You
sense.
lot are just
There you go.
well, I say you lot. I live here now, like 20-something years. Us lot only have about 8% people have passports. Jesus Christ, people.
Look at this.
Come on.
Look at this. But
Yeah, that's fair. And I will say that's probably a big reason why away games are so much fun to go to.
I don't know who to support anymore, America or England. I don't. I'm in both. I'm in both camps.
But it's been expired for 3.5 years. That's the little secret about my
Standard.
It's not any good anymore. It's November. It says November 2017. But what am I going to do? Travel right now? I mean, no. I support the U.S., but I also support England. No. See, I'm not. I'm throwing you a curve. I'm not doing this tonight. Not doing it tonight. Not doing it tonight, Charles. Sorry.
I mean, you did speak about Saint Etienne earlier, but that was in context, to be fair.
Well, that was the club, But I love New York and I love Brooklyn too, and it's true, I do. And the great people live there, fantastic people, some of the best. So, yes, you do, because when the virus is done, you need to come over here and visit us.
She's going to come meet me in Vegas. She keeps on texting me about it all the time.
Vegas is boring. Come to Boston. Come on.
She probably thinks you're a licensed hooker, though, Frankel.
Well, don't call her a licensed hooker, John.
I was calling you a licensed hooker.
Oh, people in the chat.
I don't know any. Listen. When I lived in France. Okay, I was married.
There's
And,
dimension. We've got
There it
with
is.
us.
all right.
Here we go.
So it's her fault. It's her fault. I was married to my ex-wife, and we were very faithful to each other. And I don't know anything about French women. Honestly, I know nothing about them. Seriously, I don't know anything about them. I worked with them and all that, but I don't know anything about them. Any more intimate details than anybody else would. So but I will say that French people in general could do better with the showering and the hygiene. It is
So
not,
one funny
it is
thing.
not their strongest suit. I'm sorry, that is true. That is true.
One thing that's funny with the language between our two countries is I had to explain to my mom the other day why British people find it funny that we call them
Americans
fanny
are
packs.
Oh yes. The
That's hilarious.
whole fanny situation is So my ex-wife, by the way,
The whole funny situation is just it's a problem. We need.
my ex-wife is American, by the way. My ex-wife is from Melrose, Massachusetts. Okay, so that's why she's not French. She's from Boston, which is part of the problem, or was part of the problem. But anyway, the whole fanny thing, right? There's even a Fanny Farmer cookbook. You guys know this, right? A very famous.
What?
I know that now.
It's actually really good. You want to make anything you can think of to make any like traditional American meal, the Fanny Farmer cookbook has it. So Fanny Farmer cookbook is real. I'm not making this up.
The Fanny Farmer. I heard that's what Lee's nickname was in France, bro.
Picture it is funny, guys.
That's what they call
No,
me in
it was
college.
France,
Yeah.
though. It was the farmer Fanny.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. It's the ones where they move the words. Yeah. No,
Yeah, they put because they're the Fanny, they're like the Fanny Pack, you guys remember there was a 90s band called Teenage Fan Club?
Nope.
Okay, there was a band in the 90s called Teenage Fan Club. Supposedly they're Scottish. Supposedly their name was originally Teenage Fanny, but they had to change it because that's, kind of gross. That's her story I've heard anyway. So I guess they weren't all that famous if you don't know who they are.
Well, we could tie it back to France. Former French right back Rod Fanny. There you go. I did it.
Yeah.
We're back in football. We're back at France. It's all worked out. We're good to go, everyone. Don't worry about it.
It's fantastic. And you've linked that to a player name, which is great. And we should move on to German next. And let's talk about Stefan Kuntz.
I have okay. Well, you want to get okay. Just give me a second. This I have no doubt about, by the way. This I have no doubt about. And he lived in England, okay? He knows. He's not naive. Wally's not naive. The baseball has given us the very best names. Baseball has given us all the good names. Let me see if I can find this guy here. Here we go. So my wife's gone to bed, so she's not going to text me that it's time to go to bed because she's already gone to bed, so I can do whatever I want now. Do you know this guy?
I think fanny farming is probably not acceptable by your wife.
Well, do you know this guy?
Oh yes.
Yes.
He. If you said his name, that's the exact face I would have imagined.
He was a baseball player, and I think he's still a coach for the Kansas City Royals. He's been for many. You can tell he's old. He's been for many years a coach of the Kansas City Royals. Yeah, Rusty Kuntz. Yeah. So there's old Rusty. Oh man, there was the Red Sox had a pitcher named Dick Pole for a while. There's been a lot of great.
I mean, we're talking about stupid names. I've got to tell you, there's someone I actually know here in Dallas. She's married now, so her last name is Smith.
Yes.
Her maiden name was Beaver.
Yes. Wait a minute. Was it Beaver with an S on the end?
Nope. It's literally, her name was actually Charity Beaver.
Oh my God, that's a fantastic name. Oh, holy crap. Is that a great name?
Lovely woman as well.
Oh my word, that's a brilliant name. All right, now, but I don't think much will ever top in the annals of sport. I don't think much will ever top a guy named Dick Pole playing for the Beavers.
That's excellent.
That happened in America. Okay, now can you come at me with your English, all your pip and cheerio? No, man, we're coming at you with Dick Pole.
Big
We're
Richard coming through.
Coming at you real hard with Dick Pole playing for the Beavers. Baseball, they're all baseball names, though. You know what I mean? They're all baseball names because baseball is a stupid sport that produces stupid things.
It's so weird to me how the nickname Dick is for somebody named Richard.
I never get that either. I know a guy named Richard. I have a pretty good. Well, I knew him when I lived somewhere else. A guy named Richard, and he went by Rich, as you might imagine. But first of all, who's named? He's like my age. He's like in his 40s. Who's named a kid Richard in the last 70 years? You know,
one of my good buddies I went to college with back in 2009. His name was Richard Fagan. and he's a doctor now, so we obviously call him Dr. Dick.
You have to.
Yeah, he knew about it because it happened in the first Hangover movie, and once we heard that, it just stuck ever since, and now it's official.
You guys know, you guys are proper global football fans, so you know this club, right?
I'm so happy with where this conversation is going.
Deportivo Huanca, you know these guys. You've heard of these guys. This is real.
Did you mention NASCAR driver Dick Trickle yet?
Oh,
a
Dick
fantastic
Trickle.
name.
I forgot about Dick Trickle. No, he's
The
also
venereal
very real.
diseased man.
Dick Trickle, who never won a NASCAR race, by the way, never won a single one. Because I looked it up one time. He was he was on the circuit for many years and all that, but I don't think he ever actually won a race. Yeah, I mean, this is oh god, what a great picture this is. I got a second. Oh, I love this.
You didn't Google Dick Trickle, did you?
Of course I did. You guys want to see a dude named Dick Trickle? I mean, that guy's named Dick Trickle right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Look at it. With the hair,
Yeah.
with
that's a
the stars,
specimen.
and he's just like, yeah.
That's
Oh,
a
that
1980s.
I wonder how he
athlete.
got sponsored by Miller High Life, and I'm sure it all includes just being in a bar before the race, which is why he never won.
I'm a little jealous. I'm a little jealous, though, aren't you? Look at that.
I mean, he's a stunning
Oh,
human
no.
being for sure.
He is a
He looks
look
like-
at
he looks
Just
like Brian
burning
Cranston.
smokes, drinking,
That's
driving
the
cars.
inspiration to
fast.
Ricky
What else
Bobby.
is there?
I'll bet you did. I'll bet she did too. I don't doubt that at all. Yeah. Oh, I tell you what. Now, there was no. I actually kind of believe this, but
How is Tom Cheesy still up? I always thought he was a dignified. Like,
how is Charlie still up? Well, Charlie doesn't. Yeah, that's
So is the secret degenerate.
yeah. Charlie's plus.
Charlie lives in a city that doesn't sleep, so you
Charlie
know.
took like 12 Adderall before the show started.
Charlie's
no.
shirt used to say
Dog like
sleep,
that.
but he razor bladed it off.
Yeah, his shirt says sleep. How that's not even.
Oh, it does say sleep. Never mind. I thought it just said eat. Eat.
No, it says sleep, but he doesn't.
it has, but I'm not standing up. It's
I
too
knew
late.
a guy who had a Thai friend named Supaporn. Her name was Supaprn. Supaporn. That's a great name.
That's a
That's a brilliant name. Yeah, Supaporn.
super fun.
Yeah.
I am so happy. This is all I've ever wanted in life. It's
Like,
just to be-
whenever I wonder why I continue to come on shows, something like this happens.
it just happens. It comes along, you
You
know.
wonder? I don't wonder. I mean, this is like the best part of my week. You know, and it really is. I'm not. I'm
I'm
really
gonna
not
go out and say the second you said I'm coming at you hard with Dick Pole, that might have been, I'm putting it up there with the greatest moment in my life. It's up there. It's definitely a pinnacle of like just language. Cock.
Here's Pete LaCock.
Hey,
The
who is
best part is the way he looks. He looks like Pete LaCock. You know what I
he
mean?
looks like Pete Lecoq. He is concerning me with just everything about his.
If somebody made up a French name, that's what they'd make up.
His name is Peter LaCock.
It's masculine
His
as well.
parents named him Peter. They named him Peter. Their name was already LaCock, and they didn't name him like Bill or Bruce or James. Jimmy
Oh.
LaCock. His name is Peter LaCock.
Should
Pete
name him
LaCock.
Richard.
They could have named him Richard. That's the only thing they could have done worse or
It's not,
maybe
even,
better.
it's not even French because it's not got a Q. It's just Lecoq.
That's what I mean.
There's no
It's not
Q
even
there.
it's not even a real name.
It's just they just vibed it,
It's
and I
just,
respect it.
it's just like they made it up.
How much do you want to bet that definitely is not his government birth name?
Oh, I bet. Oh, surely. I mean,
This is don't ruin
Oh,
my
what the-
fantasies.
I don't know. I mean,
Sally, that guy gets pulled over by the police, and they're like, "You're Pete Lecoq," and he's like, "I'm not Lecoq. My name is Dick or something." I don't know. Like, what is the alternative at that point? You're gonna pull out an ID that's not Lecoq on it? It's
he's never got.
Right.
Look at this. Look at this. The ladies know it. The
Hey,
ladies
Lecoq
know it.
Lecoq number one.
Lecoq.
I feel like that's a really
I'll tell you
missed
what,
opportunity
look
with
at
the
these-
form
look at
of
these
number
birds.
one, but what do I know?
Look at these
Pete
birds.
Lecoq loves the long ball.
Look at these birds he's pulling too, huh?
See,
and this
those
one,
ladies
I can't really
all
tell.
want Lecoq.
I can't entirely tell what's going on. If there's a Lecoq back here, it's kind of hard to say. I'm not real sure.
Yeah, that chick shirt on the left is fantastic.
This is. I'm gonna have to zoom in and. Is that? I can't tell what's going on here.
Can we just appreciate her teeth real quick?
Yeah, well, it was the 70s, Sally. There were no dentists in the 70s, okay?
She must have been an English woman gone to visit. I think she went all the way over the Atlantic to get Lecoq.
Bring all those hairstyles back.
But I can't tell if this is a lady or a dude. I'm really having a hard time with this. This one in the back. No, I'm doing it on the wrong screen. This one right here. See, I don't know what's going on here. I'm having a real hard time with that.
I just can't. I'm sorry.
I'll bet you.
Viva Lecoq.
I'll tell you what. I bet you Pete Lecoq found out. I bet he found out. I bet he knows.
Viva Lecoq. I'm putting that on my tombstone. That's the greatest piece of merch I've ever seen in my life. Viva Lecoq.
Would you make fun of Julian Dix's name to his face? Would you walk up to Julian Dix and make fun of him his name to his face? I don't think I would do that.
I feel like if you never met him and somebody told you that their name was Julian Dix, you can't help but just let out a little giggle.
Dix.
Oh no, I would totally laugh. Yeah, it wouldn't be a giggle. I think it was hilarious. Yeah. Well, Rebecca, this is the question that I had, as I couldn't tell with the one person in the back there. Like if there was, yeah, it is. It's getting dirty. I'm gonna take
out of interest. How many people now, Lee? How many people watching?
21.
More than ever.
I'm going until we. Yeah, no, I'm going to take my top off here in a few minutes, and it's really going to get. I'll tell you what. I thought Georgie Leahy was going to take her top off that time she was on with us, man. I'll tell you what. Did you ever see that? Like way in the early days of American Hammers TV, we had a West Ham fan on named Georgie Leahy. He was on one of those, like Bachelorette. She was on the Bachelor UK, and she was one of the ladies trying to get the guy. And she was just very like somebody who really wanted to be a star. Now she was a West Ham fan, all right, legit. She like really wanted to be a star. You know what I mean? And I didn't know what to do with her. She scared me. It was I'll have to go back and find that because that was not my finest hour. But anyway, I was pretty sure.
Finest hour, Lee. I think
I was pretty sure that Georgie Leahy was going to take her top off at some point. The show was good. I didn't honestly didn't want that to happen. Yeah, it was a little bit scary.
Why didn't you want that to happen?
I mean, I'm not like yeah. It's that's.
I need to watch that. How was the wrap up for that?
Oh, it was quick. Yeah, it was like what? Oh, hey, what? Huh? Oh, yeah, I gotta go. No, because in real life, I don't do well with that sort of thing. Yeah. So. Yeah, I wondered if there's. I had a whole list of them saved, a whole list of baseball names saved somewhere, like pictures of these people. But I can't find it anymore.
Night Foe.
Yeah, Morning Foe. Isn't he in England? Isn't he in England?
He is. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think it might have been. Yes, I do actually remember him.
Coventry City legend.
Do you guys remember Muzzy Izzet? Remember the player Muzzy Izzet? Remember that guy? That was
Leicester.
Yeah, Leicester.
Yeah, that's what I remember him. Yeah.
Oh, and of course Dean Windass, which probably wasn't funny in English.
No, I shouldn't tell it.
Yeah, go on, Adam. You want to. You've already done the name.
It's a little inappropriate.
Bro, we've just been laughing at the word.
Oh, please. I don't think it's going to be all that much worse than...
So, all right.
Talk. I mean, come on.
It's all right. Well, I've warned everybody that this Dean Windass story is very inappropriate. But Dean Windass scored cracking goal to put Hull, to promote Hull. He's a Hull City legend.
Right.
Now,
there he is. Yeah.
Out on the town in Hull, there was a time in a nightclub, like a bar. We're in the toilet. Dean Windass is there, and someone makes a comment to him, just like, "Oh, that bird you're with, she's all right, isn't she?" Dean Windass literally just doesn't skip a beat. Oh, she's just a cum bucket.
Oh my!
Windass. Dean Windass.
Did he really say that?
Yes.
But it was in the men's room.
in the men's room, out of earshot.
Oh my god!
I told you it's a slightly inappropriate Dean Windass story, but
Question: How do you
no,
know?
I was there.
Were you the person asking?
No. I was just a bystander.
Yeah, I could see Adam being the that bird you with all right, isn't it? Adam going like full bellboy. There you go. First one for it's a Boston guy, old school Boston Patriots back when they were called Boston. There's one for Rebecca. Maybe I don't know, maybe not. Depends on the mood she's in, I guess. Yeah, Dick Felt. That's a pretty good one. When did the word dick become synonymous with penis? That's what I wonder.
God.
At some point, like it has to, like it goes back a long way. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna get a drink. I mean, I thought this would be over so long ago. I need a drink. I'll be back.
Adam's like, can I jump in before I eat dinner? And there he is, sadly fucking eating spring roll cheeseburgers for 3 hours.
Hang on. This guy too. Okay, I forgot about this is a good one. Not a baseball player for once, but played.
How do you have this on demand, Lee?
I just know things.
It's just good.
I don't even know who the Philadelphia Kings were. I don't think that's ABA. That must be some sort of CBA or.
Who's Wally's team?
Does this have? Oh, it is Wally's team. Holy crap! It is. Do you know who these were, Kelly? The Philadelphia Kings?
No, I would assume it's got to be like early ABA.
I would think ABA too, right? Because I mean,
yeah, I mean Philadelphia, and I mean that. I would only imagine that this team moved to Sacramento unless they just dropped the name and just went with the 76ers after a while. But yeah, I have.
Well, I know that the Sacramento Kings were originally in Kansas City, or if not originally, before they were in Sacramento, they were in Kansas City. They were Kansas City Kings when I was a kid, and then they moved to Sacramento. But I don't know who the Philadelphia Kings were. But that's not Chumpy Cox is pretty good.
It's only a matter of time until I get fired.
Hang on, what? Why will you get
for
fired?
this?
It's a matter of time.
Why?
No, we're not doing anything wrong. No, this is fine. I teach Sunday school on this computer. It's
so
fine.
I just went to look up to see how long ago you guys interviewed Georgie Leahy, and you guys were still using Google Hangouts at the time.
Yes, we were. We used Google Hangouts for a long time, and it was terrible. It was. Yeah. See, this is
whoever was talking was on the big screen.
I kind of figured we'd get here eventually. You know, long enough. Yeah. No, come on. You know, I got a lot of tabs going, but I'm a pro. I know what I'm doing. Oh no, please. Nothing would surprise her. Believe me. Yeah. No, she's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you know, she's. I have no secrets for my wife. Seriously, I have nothing to hide. She probably wants me to hide things, but you know, that's another story altogether. Yeah, I don't know. I'm running out of funny baseball names, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not looking so good. Now we're getting into stuff that's only sort of marginally funny.
So you have a library, Lee. I mean, where are you recalling these from?
Well,
you didn't get Randy Johnson either, which in England would be hilarious.
Johnson is a banger.
The problem with Randy Johnson, he was too famous.
The big ticket.
It's a great double entendre name, but he's like a Hall of Famer. I mean, you know, so. Yeah, I mean, it's a hilarious name, but at the same time, it's like, okay, but that dude was actually really good.
You can't make fun of the good dick? Like, what's going on there?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, Pete LeCoq was kind of, you know, he wasn't like a super famous player. Randy Johnson's like, I mean, he's got to be in the Hall of Fame, right, Sally? I mean, doesn't he?
He definitely is in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, the dude's like one of the greatest pitchers of all time. And look at it.
Game against, remember that perfect game for the Diamondbacks? Who's that against?
I don't remember, but I remember he killed the bird.
Yeah.
He killed the bird was that in the All-Star game? No. The All-Star game is when he threw at John Kruk and he threw the ball over his head and it scared the crap out of John Kruk. But he what am I doing? I've got Rebecca's comment on the screen. What is it doing there? How did that get there? Anyway, he killed a bird. This bird flew into the path of the ball as he was pitching it, and that sucker exploded, man.
Yep.
Surely
that was amazing. You know,
it was pretty cool. I mean, I won't say. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm against animal brutality. I mean, I'm not for it, but that bird pitch was an amazing moment.
Just imagine being that bird. Like, that looks like a decent place to land.
Yeah, it's
There's the beautiful the best thing about Randy Johnson as a name is that it's the most real you can get while still being amazingly stupid. Do you know what I mean? Pete the Cop sounds like a comedy character.
Right.
Randy Johnson is a plausible name.
And in fact, a real one. I mean, I can't, it's hard. I don't want to get busted for copyright violation or intellectual property, whatever is against. I won't show you the clip because Major League Baseball will come and, you know, send the Air Force to swoop down on me. But that was a bird. That was a bird. That white
was a plane.
Yeah, that sort of collection of right. I mean, who knows? Well, I mean, that was a bird that flew through, and he blew it up. He blew it up. It was. Oh man, we had Benny Hill on Channel 13 in Dallas when I was a kid. We were very sophisticated people. But yeah, he exploded that bird, man. That thing was. I mean, I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, you've got to go to offshore wind farms to see anything that's remotely like that.
Yeah, it's you do where they or like an airplane. It might get sucked into an airplane turbine or something like that. But
oh man, speaking of birds at a baseball game, I went to a night game once in San Francisco. They were playing the Rockies.
Yeah.
And those seagulls, since it's like right up on the bay, those seagulls do not mess around about flying right above the stadium when the game is almost over. Well, not even almost over. It's like once the sun goes down.
Gross.
And there's all that food just in, they are
all the
everywhere.
Yeah. There's Fair Hooker. He's never gonna cheat you. All right. Never gonna cheat you. Yeah, I know you should. You should but I told you I had my PJs on tonight. I told you guys I have my West Ham PJs on.
We're going back to PJ mode. Look at that.
See? I have my West Ham PJs, so I have full pants on, and these don't open in the front either, so there won't be any surprise coming out the back door.
And a blankie, which I appreciate.
My mother-in-law, yes, I didn't tell you this, Charlie. My mother-in-law made this for me.
Oh no, you did. I just appreciate it.
Okay, well now that it's
so late, you said your mother-in-law. I thought you were about to pull your mother-in-law out from under the table.
It's a close-knit family. What can I say? It's yeah, I forgot about Fair Hooker. Yeah. Oh, is this one even real? I don't know if this is even
Rebecca's
real.
comment.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, I'm still sharing my screen. Well, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. Is it going to load ever? There's Harry Cullen. Yeah.
Love that.
I don't remember this guy though. This looks like the 80s, and I would have remembered a guy named that in the 80s. So I'm not convinced that's real. I'm not sure about that. Wait, what did Rebecca say? Oh, no, yeah.
When Fair Hooker came on, that's like it's her nickname.
Well, I mean, I'm
kidding. I call her way worse than that.
So my 7-year-old was looking at the PJs tonight, and he kept trying to. They say WHU. They dropped off the FC. I don't know why. It doesn't matter. But he kept going, who? And I was like, Andrew, it's West Ham United. That stands for West Ham United. He's like, oh, like, yeah, like everything in our house, there's WHU on it. Like every piece of clothing I wear every day. Yeah, that's what all that stuff is.
Nice example of American education there. Thanks, Lee.
No, he's just like, you know what? He's just like, he's spacey. You know what I mean? He just like doesn't pay attention to things. That's all. And I get that. Yeah. Anyway. All right. We've dropped below 20 people watching, and it's.
Are you surprised?
I'm surprised there's 19 people still tuned in. It must be some sort of, counting error or something.
We've got to go until 3. Once we hit 3 hours, then
I'm going to the gym I've got a meeting at 6 a.m. and then I'm going to go to the gym for the first.
Oh, he's gonna fucking die.
6 in the morning? Are you out of your mind? That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They're German. They're Germans. Don't ask questions. Okay. That's how they do things. Where it's okay. It's fine. It's really 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and then after that, I'm going to my friend's gym. Should I drop the name, Charlie? Should I drop the name?
I mean, you might as well. You might as well. I don't think you want to. You're desperate to.
Wait, you're meeting somebody? Are you meeting Wayne?
No. So I'm going. So some of my friends that have a YouTube channel around here, and they have like a facility with like a lot of sporting things. And so sometimes I haven't been for ages. But
Sporting things.
So they're called Dude Perfect, and they do trick shots.
Oh, those guys.
Oh yeah.
You know those guys?
Yeah. So tomorrow, after
Do they know how often you drop their name?
I know, of course,
He's
they
never
know.
dropped it to me. I've talked to Adam a lot, and he's never.
Frankel knows everybody, just in case you don't know. He knows everybody.
I don't just do it all the time, but I am going to. That is
He
mate.
just looks it too. He just looks it. You know what I mean?
You guys are mad. His face. That is made up.
It's not going to get any better than that. It's not going to get any better than that. Wait, Dude Perfect are from Dallas, first of all?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, their office is just here in Frisco. So
They have an office? What, they have an office?
Well, their warehouse.
They have a warehouse?
Well, it's like got like a little football court, a basketball court, a gym, like everything.
Okay, well that makes sense. They make money off of this stuff then. They have a
Yeah.
Oh
okay.
yeah,
So,
for
so
sure.
you know them. How do you know them? How do you know them?
Well, I played 6-side football with them, but
Okay.
I met him first because one of them goes to the same church that I go to. So that's how I met him. And then we started a team together, and it was like half of them boys and were on my team, and I've like managed the teams and tried to play. So yeah, I've been friends with them for a while.
Really?
They're good.
I never knew that.
That's
Well,
so
I don't like to
fucking
talk about it that much, Lee. I don't like to say these things. I don't want to look like a total asshole.
Well, I'm just wondering, Charlie. I mean, do you know anybody that famous, Charlie?
He knows me.
Oh, well, he knows.
I mean, I could name drop, but I'm not Adam Frankel. Also, just before we get into that conversation, just quickly, there are very few times I've seen John completely go.
Right.
Buzz Nutter has fully destroyed him. Has fully killed him.
so fucking stupid.
I've seen John go a couple of times, but that is unreal. That is
I've been trying to do that for the longest time to get him. Where is he? Him in particular. Well, wherever he is, because he's he's so cool and calm, collected all the time, and I've been trying to get him. I've been trying, and now I think we did it. I think Buzz Nutter.
Put it back up. Put it back up.
Oh, I gotta find him again. Hang on, I gotta
Bring
find
Buzz
him again.
Nutter back. Bring
Oh.
back Buzz.
I
Green
wanna
cool
see-
Nutter. Come on, let's
It's
go.
not real,
All
can
right,
it?
all right.
That is not real. I'm Googling it.
Yeah.
Well,
Hang on, wait, I'm
I'll tell you
gonna
what.
It's like
Yeah.
you definitely
You have a little bit of
definitely gotta be safe with your screen share before you find Buzz
He
Nutter.
had a little bit of a career because look, here he is. I'll pull up. Hang on. Of all the nights, and tonight I said to myself, I'm so tired. I'm not going to do a lot
Multiple
because I'm so
pictures.
tired. And I've had a headache, and I've just it's been a difficult day.
Buzz's stance ready
Yeah,
for
there
it.
is. Look, playing for
He's
Pittsburgh.
actually a real person. I can't believe it. I thought
I'll
it
tell
was
you what.
photoshopped.
I'll tell you what. I'll bet you could. You know what? Hang on.
He
Let's
only
see here.
died 12 years ago.
Why is
This
Buzz
guy's
always in that
alive
stance?
12 in our lifetime, he was alive.
Why is Buzz always in a stance that denotes that he's ready? Like, why is
He's a
Buzz?
center. He's a center.
Those
He's
are old
snapping the ball.
American football like card poses. They're action poses, what they're called.
Love that. Love Buzz. Buzz
I'll tell
Nutter.
you,
Big Nutter. What a man.
Buzz played 11 years in the NFL. Look at that.
Nutter, Buzz.
He won two NFL championships back in the days before the Super Bowl. He retired before. He retired. He retired the year before the Super Bowl started. So he won 2 NFL championships with the Colts, and he made the Pro Bowl in 1962. Look at that. Went to
Buzz
Virginia Tech. Went to Virginia Tech. Look at that. Huh.
The storied legacy of Buzz Nutter. Oh man.
Buzz Nutter from Summersville, West Virginia. I tell you what, he had a career.
What an individual.
Tell you what, he did. He was pretty probably made $35 back in those days. You know what I mean? They didn't make a lot of money back then. Those football players, they were just tough. They were tougher back
That's about what you'd pay for it today.
then. My God.
Look at the comment underneath that.
I don't know. Do I want to? No, tell me the Italian woman's going to put up with that. I doubt that. I highly doubt that. Although I don't really know. He did. That's what I'm saying. Guy was, he was good. He was good. So,
Legend of the game.
do what?
Legend of the game.
Well, I mean, evidently.
Buzz.
What's so funny? What's funny is that name isn't even funny to most Americans. Wouldn't find that to be a very funny name because it doesn't really mean anything. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm giggling anytime I hear that on the TV. Buzz Nutter with the pants.
You
I
imagine
don't care where I am. I'm laughing.
he was called for holding a lot. He'd be holding a lot. Buzz Nutter was holding a lot because he was centers don't really get called for holding all that much, but he was snap. I'll tell you what, quarterback would put his hands right between his legs. That's where they put it. Quarterback puts his hand right up against right up against the guy's taint, basically. He does. I played. I wasn't a center, but I played a little football, and I don't think this is why they run from the shotgun most of the time these days. Okay, shotgun most of the time these days. But for many years they didn't use the shotgun, and the quarterback would go up under center, and you put it like hard up against the taint, all right? Because when that ball comes in, it comes in hard,
AmericanHammers.net if you want some t-shirts. So make sure to subscribe if you're new.
That's what I'm saying.
You can
The
find
funniest
it.
part about you explaining that, Lee, is knowing what you're talking about, but just imagining it from somebody who doesn't know
Right.
what a snap exchange is.
I'm right because it's true. Because it's true. He knows I'm right. He knows.
I can only imagine, the pose that Buzz Nutter was in makes so much more sense now that he was getting his taint tickled.
He's getting his taint slapped over and over again. That's what happened.
This is again the most I've ever seen Selly go as well. This is a beautiful. Buzz Nutter has truly brought us joy on this night. Can we all appreciate the fact that Buzz Nutter has blessed us so?
It happens over and over again. It's just how it works. It's how it works. I can't really. I'm not getting a very good. Here, you can sort. Okay. Look, I'll show you. Look. All right, here you go.
You have to show up by the time Kieran's done with his 6th beer because his pack will be gone by then.
Okay. See, you can't really see it here. Okay, you can't really see it, but this is kind of a little example of how
Are
it
you
works.
showing his snap exchange?
Yeah, there it is. See? Now see that top hand is like.
Talk us through it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh man!
Now in real football, that thing comes back. It comes back really hard, right? It comes back hard. It comes back super hard. Yeah.
It comes real. What I would
It is. Yeah, it is. It's gonna hurt when it hits you. Yeah.
it's gonna hurt.
It is gonna hurt. It does. It's gonna hurt your hand. It's gonna hurt your hand. But yeah.
So just to pull the curtain back just a little bit, I want to ask Adam a question. Adam earlier on said to me that he didn't know what he was going to do tonight. He was like, "I've got nothing to do. I don't know what I'm going to do with my time." Adam, in the wildest thoughts, would you have imagined? What 10 past 5 UK time, whatever time it is there, you'd be talking NFL plays and Buzz Nutter and what he's up to.
We literally said as well earlier on, like we had a conversation where I actually said to Charlie, I was like, do you know what? I've never actually been asked to be on Lee's show before. And I'm like, I've got my own show on a Wednesday night, so it makes sense because it will be a long time. And so it's one of those things where, like, I'm not offended that I haven't been asked. Like, I don't mind because...
No, I really thought I'd ask you already. I'm not joking about this. I thought I'd been asking you for, like, months.
But I wasn't expecting to be here. Like, I mean, I've literally ordered dinner, eaten my dinner, and we're still here. And
see, this is. I mean, it's right up in there. You know, that's how you do it. That's how you take the snap. So
that's how you take the snap, ladies and gentlemen.
You guys don't think I know what I'm talking about, but I know what I'm talking about.
If you've ever wondered how Buzz Nutter takes the snap, that's how it is.
No. Buzz Nutter did the snapping. See, Charles.
Oh, so he did the snap. He didn't take the snap.
Yeah, it's quartered by who knows who. I mean, Johnny Unitas back then, right? Back during the '60s for Baltimore. Yeah, sure.
Not a snapped. Not a snapping. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
I think at 3:11 I might leave because they're one of my favorite bands. It seems like an appropriate moment for me to end my participation.
I've never heard of that band, but I'm sure they're great.
311, they're pretty good.
You've heard of 311.
You've definitely heard a song from 311 for sure.
I think you vastly overestimate how much music I listen to.
Whoa, amber is the color of your energy.
Yes.
Whoa. Well, there's like changing on
downtown. Years ago.
I think you guys vastly overestimate how much music I listen to that was made after like 1985. Because I listen to a lot of fossil rock. All right.
90s.
The fuck is fossil rock? Is that next to Fraggle Rock?
No, it's old guys. It's old 70s and 80s rock and roll. That's all it is.
Lee wants to think that he's the only one that listens to classic rock, so he calls it fossil rock.
It's worse than classic. It's pretty fossil. Although classic rock in New England is actually a big thing. We listen to a lot of it here. Seriously, it's for whatever reason, it's a big thing in New England. So,
yeah, but so's driving like an asshole. So don't trust New England.
Oi. No, that's not true. We're assertive drivers. That's Philadelphia has a market corner of assholes. Let's face it. Come on. You cannot be from Philly and call somebody else an asshole.
No,
Although Boston is a very
fair.
mean city. I will say Boston's not a friendly city at all. If you come here, people are dicks. So just, but please come and visit and enjoy our scenic vistas. Anyway, all right. All I want to leave you with is I'm starving. I ate dinner like hours ago, and I'm so hungry, but I need to go to bed. So anyway.
Be a good boy. Be a good boy, Lee. Go to bed. Say no to the fridge.
Yeah. No, I'm saying no to the fridge. No, I have to.
Say no to the fridge.
I have to because, it's what I have to do. All right. To everybody in the chat room, including Rebecca and Charlie Boy and look, Selly. Selly's in the two places at once. Look at that. He's like 10 years younger in his picture too. To Rob and to who is Mark. Mark. Dude, you are like the most optimistic person I've ever seen. I don't know. When we were talking about West Ham like hours ago, everything Mark said was like, everything's great. Like and I was like, okay, good. So God bless you. Ken, my buddy Ken. Yes, it'll go down in YouTube folklore. To everybody here, John in the city of brotherly love.
He's still here. Oh my God, it's like 6 a.m. for him.
Yeah, he really doesn't have much going on, Adam. Adam and McKinney, Texas, and Frisco, I should say. Frisco, Texas, home of FC Dallas, and my cousin and his wife and some of their children. Selly is always with me on Wednesday nights in Colorado, and of course Charles DeWalsh, who is actually employed by Hammers Chat. He's a ringer over here. So
again, if anyone has any money they want to give me, I will do much. I will do most things. So just at me. at me. Also, I like the fact Frisco Tesca's home of FC Dallas and my cousin. It's just
My cousin, yes, my cousin. Yeah, yours too.
No, unfortunately not. Mine are all in Ricelip.
My cousin who was like married. He's like married to his wife, and then they separated, but now they're together again. But they have like all sorts of like some of the kids are his, some of them are hers, some of them like don't belong to either one of them. But they're like his ex-wife's kids, or they live with him. So anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on, and if you see them, Adam,
What are their names?
I'm not going to tell you their names.
I was about to say, actually, I don't care.
Because it's way too common. Because it's such a common name that it's just too common a name. If you do see them, don't approach. Okay, just keep a distance. All right. No, they're nice people. Anyway, well, he is. I don't like her very much. Anyway, I mean, just to be honest. All right, it's 3:30 in the morning somewhere. No, it's 12:15 in the morning here, and we will see you in a week. Now a little less than a week. Now it's like
4 days.
6.5 days, like 6.5 days, something like that. Neil in Australia, I hope you're enjoying like Friday afternoon or whatever it is there. And
this is the second longest show I've ever been on, apart from the 24-hour charity stream we did.
I remember that one. I remember that.
You were on it. You came on it.
I was on it. That's right. And we are. Yeah, that's right.
I just wanted to put that out there because I felt
when
like
we started this show, we were 11 days away from the second anniversary of American Hammers TV. Now we're only 10 days away. except Selly is still 11 days away because he's in Colorado and it's like 4:00 in the afternoon there. All right. God bless you all. Come on, you irons.